70 laps once regularly.
Well, good evening and welcome back to your regular Tuesday night viewing here on Racestars TV. Tonight's round 4 of the RaceKraft Simulations Australian Formula Ford eSeries, and we head to Sandown, Melbourne, Victoria. My name's Chris Mitchell, your host for tonight, alongside a former Australian Formula Ford champion who's copping a bit of the voice feedback coming through the in-game chat right now. Good evening to Dave Roberts.
G'day, Chris. I think I just solved that while you were talking about it. So welcome to Sandown, mate. My old hunting ground. I grew up not very far from here. And I can remember going,
ground at least.
Yeah, it was. I can remember going down here as a kid, and before I was 10, and sort of standing at the Dandenong Road corner there and watching them pour down through the S's. And I can remember watching, going back a long way, but I can remember watching Jimmy Clark and Graham Hill racing around here. In fact, I sat in Jimmy Clark's Lotus 49 here.
Okay.
That's how far back I go.
Might be showing the age there for Dave Roberts. We are
This is a
jumping
great
in at
place.
the moment. It's a fantastic track, isn't it? 3.15 kilometres, 13 corners by the diagram. Some fantastic opportunities for passing, but it's very narrow, and the walls are never too far away to catch you out if you make a mistake.
Yeah, and the big news of this week, of course, is that although we're here for the E-Series tonight on Tuesday night, Saturday, Sunday this week, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, is the National Formula Ford Championship and the State Series, Victorian State Series. The round of their series is here at Sandown this weekend. So you can watch them here tonight and you can whip out there on the weekend and see them for real, and maybe even go and say hello to a few of these blokes.
It'd be a fantastic opportunity. Some of the great things put on with FRG at the moment, and the Australian Formula Ford Championship matching our E-Series to match many rounds of the Australian Championship as we can. Here's a look at how Heat 1, the sprint race, went down for silver. We find ourselves jumping in as usual for the Australian Formula Ford Championship E-Series. We jump in right before we get started for the silver split feature race. So this is how they finished throughout the silver sprint race, and the highlight for that one, you were getting pretty animated about it before we jumped online, was 9-year-old sensation Oliver Armit putting it on pole. Unfortunately came unstuck in the race and ended up P6.
Yeah, he's got a lot more racing to go yet, and I think he can get it back there. He certainly had the pace. He had a couple of tenths of a second a lap fastest lap, so I think he's on for a good shot. And Harry Lawrence was really quick out there early on too, but also had a moment down at, as I call it, Peter's corner. I think it's called Pertec now. Yeah, he just lost it there in that very, very tight left-hander, which is very easy to do. But so there were a few issues out there, but David Gallo, who's won a couple of these silver sprints, came through and showed that consistency that he showed before to take out the win.
It's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. Of course, the sprint race was nice and quick, just 15 minutes in duration after a 15-minute qualifying session. That sets the grid for the feature race, which is coming up in just a moment's time. 30 minutes in duration before we quickly jump servers and we go pick up with the fastest 40 drivers coming out of pre-qualifying, which was last night. How many drivers did we have in pre-qualifying?
76, I think it was in the end.
So almost a full field. Not bad when we hit the midpoint of the season. Things usually start to thin out a little bit with these kinds of arrive and drive championships. Of course, if anyone is watching right now and wants to get involved, or you know someone who wants to get involved with the Australian Formula Ford Championship E-Series, you can qualify individually every single week. It's the only one on the FRG roster right now that you can do.
Well, it's not every week, but every round. So there's a round about once a month.
Here's a look at your starting grid then. David Gallo leading the Kittens Club, starting on the pole after taking the win in the sprint race, alongside Dyson Freeman on the front row. Daniel Byrne and Chris Tippett from row number 2. Those top 3 having a great battle all the way to the end.
Chase Tippett there, actually, Chris.
Sorry?
And he'd be doing a lot of chasing there in 4th place too.
He will be. Ocean Colangelo in P5. Oliver Armit from 6. Harry Lawrence and Jackson Austin from 7 and 8. And Damien Cairns in the Exhilarate Sim Racing entry alongside Callan Arthur, rounding out your top 10 of some 35 plus starters in your silver feature race.
Then we're just going to wait for the greens, and in in the sprint race, there are a few people a little bit slow off the line, so we'll see how they go this time round.
It can be a bit of a tricky car to start here. Let's see if anyone makes an absolute mess of it as we go green. A good start there from David Gallo, getting away nicely. As look at that, the whole field, so many snarling Formula Fords getting away from the start here from Sandown for round 4 of the Australian Formula Ford Championship E-Series, thanks to RaceKraft simulations and of course driven by FRG. Down into turn 2 at the first chicane, rather processional out front, but Freeman finding himself the meat in the middle of a kitten sandwich.
Yeah, so he's that's a one very wide there, a couple of very wide there, but they've been a very neat start. Oh, I spoke too soon, didn't I? been a very neat start up until now, and even that, it's not a serious accident. It's just a bit of clumsiness there in the first lap. So running up over the top 3 have put a little gap on. And this is charging down a Dano Road corner, and you'll occasionally see a desperate dive down the inside there, so hopefully we don't get too many of those.
It can be a typically rough part of the racetrack as we go straight for a safety car, so you might have thought it wasn't too bad with that incident coming off of turn 4, but that has triggered the safety car on the opening lap of the feature. You can see the one car there, Sam Woodland, with damage it looks, and he has come up and stopped on the exit of turn number 4. So that's the cause for our safety car. We're going to get a view of how that unfolded now. I think we're on board with Sam Woodland heading down into turn number 4. Finds himself on the outside, a little bit of carnage in front, and wow, nowhere to go.
And it's very bent. Sam's hoping that he's got all his bad luck and all this out of the way today, because Sam's actually racing there on the weekend, as I understand. So he'll be running a Formula Ford at Sandown this weekend. I think he's planning on getting all his accidents out of the road tonight.
As long as he gets them out of the way tonight, doesn't have any trouble tomorrow. There you see Tony Baker getting caught up in the number 20 car. That was the cause, or the initial cause of the safety car. Then you can see Sam Woodland with trouble trying to leave the scene on the outside of turn 4, and
broken left rear.
That's an absolute shame. So we'll park up behind the FRG Aston Martin safety car that now gets its livery thanks to Trading Paints. What a beautiful safety car we have. Who's driving the safety car tonight? Would be Lockie Capel again?
Lachlan's in it as usual, and he's one of our top GT drivers, and does a very, very neat job in that little safety car.
He certainly does, and the job he has right now is keeping all of these Formula Fords at bay as they creep around the Sandown circuit. I would say it's going to be a pretty quick clean-up to get things turned around, and we shouldn't be too far from getting back underway with racing. What a picturesque place to go racing with a Formula Ford, though. I haven't had the opportunity of being here in person just yet, but I'm sure I'll get there one day, Dave.
It's a great circuit. It looks pretty simple, but it's a great circuit to race, and it actually produces really good racing in the real world and also here in iRacing. The other thing is that there's a lot of rumours that we're going to lose Sandown somewhere, and it's odds on to be lost somewhere in the not so distant future. And the great thing is, at least here it's captured forever. And as per Oran Park, where we are for the next round of Formula Ford, which is another circuit that was a fabulous circuit that we've lost, at least they still live on in the sim world, that you can still do laps out there. But Sandown's a great circuit. This is a second or third sort of change of the layout. I remember the original layout, which came up to the Dunlop Bridge here, was really fast and fabulous layout. This isn't too bad. They did put an infield in for some Le Mans race that they had here years ago, but we're about to go away, and it's all in the hands of David Gallo here, and he's really holding the field to the line. Now they've gone green and he's gone, but it's a big long run down to the first turn, so can someone get in that tow and make a move down into turn 1? So we can see the challenge on here for second place, with Byrne going up the inside of Freeman down into turn 1.
Challenges on here, but Gallo getting through. Byrne getting up into second through turn 1. We've got a couple running wide there. Colangelo running wide, taking advantage of the bitumen on the outside of turn 1. There is Damien Cairns slots through. He gets through for 8th already, so Cairns trying to fight his way back forward in the field and get back to where he wants to be. He's been having a couple of great runs in this championship so far. As we look a little bit further back, Brent Meekus to 13th in the DFR Team Red entry. And Mika's down 2 spots from where he started already. Brant Johnson showing up just on in P12, up 1 spot. As we catch a bit of Brant on screen here from the Sandgroper Sim Racing entry. Check out the screens he has set up there, Dave. That is a setup and a half.
I reckon he's got the TV running on the top one.
How many overlays would you like in your iRacing? Yes. That's the answer right now. Trouble for John Baldwin, though. We've got trouble on the outside.
Dandenong Road corner.
Dandenong Road corner, your favourite.
Yeah, it's a real trap. It's a very, very fast section of road over the top. There's a lot more bitumen there now, which saves a lot of people. It used to be all grass and straight in the fence, but it was very, very high speed. And whoa, we're very close, and we're gone. That's Dyson Freeman spinning out of third, and Armitt's gone there as well with him. Although I think he's got away with that. Not too much damage or too much trouble by the looks of it. That was a bit lucky
to get away with that.
He just had. Oh no!
He tags it again.
Yep, it's continued. So
Let's
unfortunate.
See what
whoa, 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 whoa!
Oh, that's unfortunate for Ollie Armitt. Yeah. And then watch this as we go down into turn number 2. Hopefully Luke's going to stay with it here. He's trying to sort out whether the car's okay.
Yeah.
And he's like a right rear, or he spun it by himself again.
Yeah, this is where I was. That was a bit...
Getting well and truly caught.
That was a bit scary. So now Gallo and Byrne have made a little break here, and they've got a good gap over Harry Lawrence. But Harry Lawrence is pretty quick, and I see another one disappearing down on the road corner. Andrew Johnson, in my favourite paint job, as he calls it, disappearing off the road down to the Dandenong Road corner. That was a pity for Andrew. He likes this car, but he's finding a bit of a handful to get his head around it. So he's very quick in a Formula 3 car, but Formula 4 is proving a good challenge for Andrew.
Well, they are very challenging. They're all mechanical, these Formula Ford cars. You can't rely on aerodynamics. And as a very prominent driver coach once told me that you get the young drivers in these kind of cars still, even with the evolution of Formula 4 and the likes of open wheel with wings and slicks kind of cars to develop young talent. You put them in a car like this, and you can't hide behind the aerodynamics anymore. It will show up all the little mistakes you make and will make you a better driver.
Now, just looking there,
he's happy.
4th and 5th place and battling side by side. Now, Chase Tippett is new to the series. He's, I think he's on debut tonight, so that's a pretty good effort from Chase, and he's certainly putting up a good showing there. Big battle behind him. He's got a group of like 4 or 5 cars all attacking him, so his mirrors are full. He's just going to go, I'm not going to look in those mirrors. I've got to get my head down and concentrate on the guy in front and try and get myself away from this. So, yeah, good. 41 and 14, so reverse numbers. If there's anything in that, I don't know. But, yeah, very, very good run. And now see, he's running down the inside, trying to force Tippett down the outside, which is into the first corner, the whole track position of that first corner. So in that, he's managed to pull that off, but he'll be a bit slow out of this corner, but it's a short run down to the little right-left flip-flop and up into what I call Peter's ice cream corner.
There's not too many opportunities to try and make the pass down there at turn 4 either, so that will keep Austin and Tippett having a good run there. Tippett dropping back to P5. Just behind them, we saw on screen a moment ago, Damien Cairns throwing in a bit of shackers, so he's obviously watching on, or he's got somebody watching on saying, hey Damien, you're on screen, you're on screen. He can say good day to the team whenever we jump in his room and say good day, as he currently runs in position 6. We go back to the pointy end for the fight though. David Gallo and Daniel Byrne, the Kittens Club, leading the way again here from Harry Lawrence, who's up 4 spots behind in 3rd. And these guys having a great run here. Gallo was number 46 qualifier after the pre-qualifying last night. And Byrne, right behind him, number 47 qualifier. So they're proving that they've got the pace to hold on to the front and keep things going right on the very edge of bumping up into the gold split after pre-qualifying. They'll hold it down here. We've still got 20 minutes and 30 left to go here from Sandown, and the leaders are already well and truly cleared out.
I'm looking down through the list here, Chris, and Reece Rolland currently running in 11th, up 10 spots so far in this race, and he's on debut as well, I believe. And also Tony Baker's up 12 spots to 15th. So those two guys are having a pretty good run there back through the field and trying to find their way to the front. And here we go. I can see on my second screen, Armit's just taken another position back to be, he's got himself up now to... looks like 23rd, so he's coming back through the field after his earlier little indiscretion there. But it's very, very high speed. It's all about getting a slipstream and trying to get in that toe and keeping your momentum through the corners that lead on to those big long stretch. We see there car 9 taking the shortcut down through that S's section, and you do that, you get a slowdown. So he'll probably have to lift off and lose a position out of that, would be my guess.
I'm actually rather impressed how much curb they can take through that turn 6, 7, 8, 9 complex, because it's very high speed. It's very easy for the cars to get unsettled, and the back of the car starts to waggle the tail quite a bit, and they're really getting up over the top of the curbs. And these cars only have, 40 to 45 mil ride height, so there's not much leeway there. And the curbs here at Sandown are pretty tall still, and they can still get up over the top of them in the really high-speed sections of the track. You see them just park the right rear tyre on the exit curving coming out of the newly named Pertec corner, turn 4, or Peter's Ice Cream if you're from Dave.
We've got a bit of an incident there. There's one without a nose cone, and that looks like somebody always got it off the curb, luckily, because you can get stuck on that curb.
What up there?
Yeah, he's got off that curb, so that's Brandt that we saw taking the shortcut down through the S's as well. Now he's trying to work out whether the car's, what sort of condition it's in, whether it's drivable. There's somebody else off there on the grass on the right-hand side.
What's going on here? So that's the back.
Oh, that is not a place you want to be sitting.
Oh, geez, very close. And you can see the bottom right of the screen, Brandt is actually pretty furious with himself. He's getting up and animated in the seat as well. So he's not entirely happy with his situation right now, as we see the replay watching for Jared Steen, who comes just scraping on past the stranded Sandgroup sim racing entry.
It is a very, very high curb, not just in iRacing, but in reality here, it's a very high curb. So Brandt's done that himself. He's got too far on the inside, lost the tail, it looks like, on the entry, got up on the inside curb, and then all hell's broken loose, and the people behind lifting off in the middle of the corner have lost the rear end, and so there's 3 or 4 gone round there as a result.
He tagged another car as well. It was the 26 or the 36.
Interesting here, Harry Lawrence has popped up onto the tail of the 2 leaders, so now they're running three of them running nose to tail.
It's a red hot fight. Lawrence getting well and truly involved. See how much curb he takes there at turn 7, just glancing across the top, and more curb again halfway across turn 9. He is starting to monster right up onto the back of second place of Daniel Byrne here. We love this roll hoop shot from right up top on board with Harry Lawrence. He uses a lot of curb down at turn 11.
Trying to get that run. He's trying to get that run out of that last corner, a little bit of speed, and just if you can get a little bit of gain on there. Now he's into the toe, and he should be able to make this down by turn 1. We'll see if he can pop this toe and get down the inside. Sometimes you can carry a little bit of damage that'll affect your straight line speed, but he's got it. He's down the inside, and Harry Lawrence is up into second spot with a really nice little move there.
Classic Formula Ford racing. It gets on the defensive straight away into turn 2. Big bite out of the curbs at 2 and 3, but it doesn't hurt his corner speed. He's using these curbs to good effect here. He grabs a bit of the inside curb at turn 4, and immediately, look at that, he's done. He's done with Daniel Byrne. He's setting chase after David Gallo. He fancies himself a 2-for-1 deal on the same lap with the 777 car. And Harry Lawrence, where has he come from right now? Because he is up 5 spots from where he qualified, or from where he started this race. And out of pre-qualifying, Harry Lawrence was down in P49. So he was 2 tenths off of making the gold split, and now making his presence felt here in silver.
Yeah, and he started in qualifying for the sprint race. Harry put himself on pole, put himself in P2 just behind Armit, and got a good start and made that breakout in front, but had an incident down in Pertec corner. But he's got the speed, because he certainly had the speed because he put it on pole. So we're going to see him try and make exactly that same move again. And the trouble is, you do it, and the next one, it's been done back to you. So you've got to try and make that break. Once you get past here, you've got to try and break that toe. So he's run wide on the curb and he's lost the 2 spots.
Oh dear, 2 for 1 just like that for Harry Lawrence. He slots back into second, so he only lost 1 spot out of that. He was quick to get on the defensive and hold on to P2, but just by running a little wide on the exit of Penrite corner there, turn 1, got the car bottomed out. We were talking about how little ground clearance these things have, and
it's a massive curb.
All cold up. And as we see a 5-second time penalty for Brant Johnson causing the incident on lap 3. That was an incident that was under investigation between Brant Johnson and the young sensation Oliver Armit as well. That's a lot of curb right there with Harry Lawrence
over the top.
Yeah, now this fight is bringing in Jackson Austin, who's currently 4 spots up from his starting position into P4. He is gaining hand over fist by the likes of, 2 to 5 tenths of a second a lap on the top 3 right now. So we could see a 4-way fight. You can see he's using all of the road and then some trying to get up onto this battle. But Jackson Austin is closing.
You got 3 carrots in front of him, and it's so frustrating when you've got that carrot out there, and you want to catch them, and the harder you try, the more likely you are to make a little mistake. So you just got to keep it smooth and try and hope they hold each other up and haul them in. We've got more trouble, and that looks like that's one of the Jonathan Barron, isn't it? Yes, in the Pulse cars. So that was unfortunate.
And that was a straight tow from the green car. I'm not sure who that was, towing immediately back to the pits.
33 it was. So car 33 was Jonathan Barron in the green car.
Yeah, Jonathan caught up in there. So that'll be an unauthorised tow, which can get you in some hot water with the FRG stewards as well. As we are.
Here we see
David
Harry Lawrence, and he's up the inside, and he's got that lead that he's been chasing for so long, battling with the 2 kittens, and he's put them back in their cage and taken away with the lead.
Oh, look at that, using all the exit curb coming out of the final chicane there at turn 12 and then through 13. Now look at how defensive he is keeping that car. He is trying to thwart all attempts from Byrne and Gallo to have a crack at him here.
He's got it. I think he's held on to this.
Now don't run it wide. Don't run it wide. He's up all over the curbing, and he's given them space on the exit, which would have almost invited them to come down the inside, but it doesn't. And Lawrence will keep the lead here. Let's see the replay of how that unfolded. Down here through the fast complex, turns 7, 8, and 9. There's a spun car on the exit here.
Lost the tail a little, the lead car has, on turn in there. Just lost the rear end of the car a little bit. But he's gone from the lead right back to 3rd, actually.
Yeah, Gallo losing out.
Gallo's back to 3rd.
As we check in on the little battle happening a little bit further behind here.
Chase Tippett on the back of Chase Tippett.
And they're having a good old battle here through turns 6, 7, 8, and the turn 9 complex down at Dandenong Road corner. And a little bit wide there for Tippett. We watch on board with Damien Cairns. He loves changing up his camera perspective for us. We get a different shot of his sim rig every event.
He's got the GT wheel back on again.
Oh no, that's a sin. Cardinal sin for open wheel racing.
Yeah.
Can't go racing with the GT wheel on. He's happy anyway. He's got the shackles out. And he's loving it. He's trying to signal, get this guy out of the way. I want to race. I want to race it forward here. He's got a bit at the toe. Yeah. Comes on down and doesn't quite get alongside. It's almost actually identical in shape, the wheel that he's using, to the one that's standard fitted to the Formula Ford, but we know the Formula Ford ones are only about 280mm in diameter, or even smaller, 260mm for some of them, whereas the big old Spin Magic GT wheel is about 320.
So it's not the fact that it's round, it's just the fact of the diameter of it that I talk about when I say a GT wheel, because a GT wheel is a big wheel. And a Formula Ford, the wheel's really, really quite small. It is very small. Because there's not enough room in the cockpits to have a big wheel.
No, there isn't. And many times they have the cut-off top or the flat top and bottom to open up some of the space around your knees and around your legs when you're tucked up inside these cars. Remember, you're in the real world, you're sitting in a poured urethane expandable foam seat that is molded to the exact shape of your backside, so you can't fluctuate in weight after moulding a seat, because otherwise you won't fit in the car anymore, and you're jammed between all the chassis rails. A H-pattern shifter on your right next to your right thigh, and
Yeah,
your
that's
knees
interesting.
just bashing the steering column.
A lot of people don't realise in an open wheeler, the gear change is on the right-hand side because it's based off European sort of racing where they were left-hand drive. So in a left-hand drive, the gear shifts on your right-hand side. So race cars are like that. So even in Australia, race cars, gear shift, right-hand side.
Yeah, well, it's all mostly based on the architecture of the Hewland LD200 transmission that's used in these cars, because the shifter mechanism, the shifting fork, is on the right-hand side, so they can't make the shift shafts cross over the center line of the car. And so here we go. We've got a bit of a battle on here. Colangelo getting past Williams in the Virtual Motorsport Mentor number 96 entry. Which is
Colangelo's up there. So was that what's he up to now? 18th. So that's not a bad run for your debut. He's learning the ropes of the Formula Ford series and getting out there, having a bit of fun, and hopefully enjoying himself along with the other 76 odd people who will run tonight.
That's what it's all about here in the Australian Formula Ford Championship. Oh, we just caught the top end of a spin in the back of that previous shot as we jumped back to the battle for the lead, and Lawrence has been unable to break the toe and get away from these two. Austin is now red hot on their heels. He wants to be part of this battle, and we almost split the top four into two pairs right now with 8 minutes 45 left on the time clock. We go back, there's the battle further behind to 5th and 6th, as Jonathan Veron getting a drive-through penalty for towing without approval on lap 11. So we actually saw that and called it as it happened, Dave. Told you it was an unauthorised tow.
Yep. You got it. Now, Damien Kent's had a good little run here tonight. He's up into P6, so he was a little down after qualifying, but he's had a great run through the pack and managed to keep his nose clean. I shouldn't say that. Every time I say that, I cause a problem. Don't do it.
Oh my goodness, no, tip it off through the grass.
That was actually pretty good driving there by Tippett. He kept it straight and ran across the grass rather than have an accident. Well, he'll get a slowdown probably from that, so we'll see. But that was pretty good driving by both of them. Very, very aware of each other, giving each other room there. But yeah, no, Damien's had a great run tonight, up into P5 now, so that's top 5. He'd be very happy with that.
It's a good run for him so far. He is up 4 spots from where he started alone here in this feature race. As we look at the lead trio now, we've dropped off Jackson Austin here. Last time by, he lost a 1.5 seconds to your lead trio already. Last lap by was 1:16.1, 1:16.2, 1:16.4 for your top 3, and Jackson a 1:18.2. So
obviously he's had some issue there.
Something's definitely happened on the previous lap, because now through sector 1 he was just as quick as the leaders. Through sector 2 he was the one of the quickest, 3/10 down again from the leaders last time around. So something going awry here for Jackson Austin. He's back there in P4 and unable to get back into the fight at the pointy end with 7 minutes to go.
And yeah, Lawrence has just been able to gap Daniel Byrne there just that little bit, so it's just enough to keep him out of his toe, really. It's like he's out of DRS range there. Yeah, now here he is, typical Formula Ford stuff, weaving across the straight trying to break the toe. It's so Formula Ford. Yeah, no, good run. Got that little break, which is giving him just that little bit of breathing space that he can actually concentrate on his driving rather than making covering on the way into corners. He can take the full width entry and keep his speed up. So that's why another reason why Austin is now struggling to catch them, because they're not actually battling.
Yeah, they're not slowing themselves down, so he can't catch up. Last lap by, he still gave away a little bit of time to your leader, but actually caught the next two. So Jackson Austin back in the hunt, trying to chase down second and third here of Daniel Byrne and David Gallo. With
and looks to me like I got a couple of lap cars there coming up on as well. I'm not quite sure. I think Stephen Crittenden was one. I think Armit could have been another. And the first car they're going to come across, I haven't quite spotted that one, but that may play into the Kitten's hands, because Harry Lawrence will have to find a way through, and when he opens that door, the door will be open then and aware for the next two coming through. So quite often the leader, when he comes on those tail enders, he's got to make that way and make that break and sort of make them aware that they're about to be overtaken. So it's a real opportunity for the two cats to catch.
It sure is, as we just pick up very quickly with Scott Lefebvre, who is down in 26th right now, and going to be the second car on offering for Harry Lawrence to come and put a lap on. The next in line, I think, is actually Dyson Freeman, who is running at the pointy end of the field here. Probably feels a little bit hard done by in this race, and Freeman actually going by to not be the first car to go a lap down of this pair.
This is not.
Check out how much curb he's using. Look at the amount of curb, and look at sideways on the turn 3. Harry Lawrence pushing it to the absolute limit and then beyond to try and hold on to this lead, but it's not paying off because look at the kittens. They're all over him. And Lawrence is going to have his hands full very quickly here because he's going to have a battle right behind him, and he's going to have two cars to navigate past right in front for lap traffic. This is going to get very dicey here in the last 4 minutes of this race.
All about getting a run onto the straight here and trying to get a neat, fast run at and getting that toe. And I think he's done enough to get there. So, but I'm guessing that Lawrence will force him down the outside. If you want to go around, you're going to have to go the long way around.
That's exactly what's happening here. Byrne going to the outside actually gets a nose in front and shows up as the leader momentarily. But Lawrence has track position on the way down into turn 1. Uses a bit of the exit curb and now defends the inside line into turns 2 and 3. So a brilliant defensive drive here from Harry Lawrence right now, who's using all the curbing coming out of the chicane, and again through turn 4, and you can see now weaving across the racetrack, trying to momentarily just slightly break the toe to the cars behind so he doesn't get absolutely monstered all the way up the hill and down into turn 6 once they crest.
Again, he's forcing Lawrence around the outside, but I think Lawrence, no, I thought he maybe had enough there that he could just get around the outside over the top, but not to be. But they're just going to keep the pressure on Lawrence in the lead, as much pressure as they can possibly put on him to try and force some sort of mistake. And it only takes a minute step out of line, a little tiny bit of wheel-eye grass, a bad bounce off a curb, and that'll open the door and they'll be through. So now we've got those two lap cars in front, and Lawrence is jumping into the toe of one of them. So that's like he's joined another car to get that toe to try and stay in front. So that car's now seen that he's being lapped and lifted off and let them by, which is a really nice piece of driving.
A brilliant piece of work there. Harry Lawrence getting the advantage for a moment. He finally felt the effect of the toe for the first time in a little while here in this feature race. Again, sideways coming off of turns 2 and 3. See, not too far behind here is Jackson Austin. He's slowly catching this lead pack as they continue to fight. Last time by Austin with a 16.4 was quicker than the two kittens cars in front of a 16.6 and a 16.7. So Jackson is praying that they start fighting right in front of him, and he gets the opportunity to get involved in this battle as again Lawrence on the defensive into turn 6. We saw that earlier with Damien Cairns and the car he was battling with. They didn't quite manage to go through the chicane side by side, so smart driving right now from Daniel Byrne to tuck back in behind and just settle for second right now and try and pick his moment in the closing minutes, as we are 1 minute 45 from the end here for the feature race of silver of round 4 here from Sandown.
Do we get the white flag? No, we don't. So that's 2 more laps to go. This one and another one. So there's time left for the cats to pounce.
See, Gallo's just deciding he doesn't want to even be part of this fight. He tucks out of the toe, says, you know what, I'm going to take the preferred racing line, and I'll let you two have the discussion into turns 2 and 3. This is where Lawrence has been really sketchy on the exit. Takes a big bite of the exit curve and almost gets the nose cone of Byrne into turn 4. And that might hurt his exit speed here. Byrne is right on top of him, but I think there's a pattern that seems to emerge when you're tucked up behind someone, is you don't have the ability to pass because you have no closing speed. Gallo might actually be the smart one here. Setting back a little bit and just giving himself some room to close, but side by side into turn 6. Here we go.
It's so fast over the top.
Wow.
It's so fast over the top there that, it is really, really big commitment to go around the outside there. You've really got to have the car well in front before you can pull across. And he's just not getting far enough up in front of Lawrence to be able to do that. But, you know, Lawrence managed to pull it off down the front straight here. So, yeah, that's probably a safer bet because it's an easier pass down in the turn one than it is over that high-speed top. And we're onto the last lap. There's the white flag flying there in the background. And there's people trying to make up last-minute positions left, right and centre.
Here we go then. Fights on for the final lap here in the silver feature. From Sandown, Lawrence on the defensive again into turns 2 and 3. Slides across the curbing at 3. Down through turn 4, out of Pertec corner. He gets a good drive, but Byrne is probably likely to throw caution to the wind this time and try to go all the way round the outside. We'll see if he has the kahunas to do it. As he looks to the outside, you can see him wavering and just wobbling a little bit down the racetrack. He looks to the far outside as Lawrence tries to close him down. He'll have the inside into turn 6. Byrne backs out of it, but now gets the advantage of a very loose Harry Lawrence down in through turn 7, 8 and 9. But Harry Lawrence has control coming onto Dandenong Road.
It feels like it's a battle, you know, 1 against 2, doesn't it, with the two cats there? But he's done a brilliant job, held them off, really neat. 1 corner, run onto the straight. You can't lose it from here. There's not enough. I say that, and it's side by side.
15 thousandths of a second, the margin
Wow.
at the finish line. Harry Lawrence picks it up by 15 thousandths of a second in a drag race to the line. Daniel Byrne gave it everything he could, but just came up so short. David Gallo
run out of fuel.
Jackson Austin in 4th. Damien Cairns weaving to celebrate a P5 finish here in the silver feature race. Callan Arthur home in P6 as Tony Baker in P7. Up 20 spots from where Tony started. That's a big move and shake. Chase Tippett home in P8. Reece Rolland up 12 spots in P9. From Pete Zeidler in the 10. Andrew Johnston in 11. And Greg Bradley, Jared Steen, Mark Jeffrey and Ocean Colangelo home to round out your top 15.
That was a pretty good race there at the end, wasn't it, Chris? I was really enjoying that really tight pack, the, you know, attack and counter-attack and some really nice defensive driving by Lawrence. But out of that last corner, he's actually lost his momentum there trying to cover. I thought he'd run out of fuel for a second. I thought, I've done it again. You can't lose it from here, and straight away he's going to, but he was pretty close at the finish.
This is what 15 thousandths of a second looks like. You ready for this? Watch for the line across the track. It's 15 thousandths of a second.
That's not
there
much.
is probably
Wow.
6.5 inches in it across the finish line. That is a brilliant race. Where in the world of iRacing, it's tracked on the lead of the car, so it's even for all cars. But in the real world, you and I would know, Dave, that sometimes a race can be decided like that by where you place the transponder on the vehicle.
Yes, because in the real world, you have a little, it's like a little black box and it sits inside the car somewhere. And you learn to put that right in the front of the nose, because if you have it back halfway and somebody else has got it in the nose, they've only just got the nose to your front wheel and they've beaten you, because the car is registered by where the transponder is, so not by visually where it is. But it's the same in every car here on iRacing, so that's another advantage of the unreal world.
There you go. The SDK results even slimming down that margin even more at the end. 9 thousandths of a second for Harry Lawrence to take the win here at the Delta Sport Entry 777 car in your silver feature. Daniel Byrne leads the Kittens Racing team home for 2nd and 3rd over David Gallo. Jackson Austin home for P4. Damien Cairns, the Accelerate Sim Racing Entry, ended up 17 seconds off the race lead in P5. Callan Arthur and Tony Baker. Chase Tippett on debut. He had a great run to P8. Reece Rolland and Pete Zeidler rounding out your top 10. That's a good drive there for the Pork Hunt Motorsport Entry.
Be very careful with that, Chris.
Especially with a can or two throughout the evening. as we check back through the finishing positions, quite a few drivers going a lap down there, getting caught up in incidents throughout the course of the 30-minute race here. You can see that is a whole stack of cars getting caught up the end there. Kyle Cotter with issues, 23 laps down, didn't make the start here. Lockie Capel, your safety car driver, not to note there, but Jonathan Veron, who we saw with his unauthorized tow earlier in the race, showing as registered as 29th position. Oliver Armitt with trouble in the feature, 22nd for the young 9-year-old. After such a solid start to his night here in the Formula Fords, he's got a long road ahead of him.
But that's a great showing by him tonight. And all of that is experience he can put in the book. And as you see with Oscar Piastri now in F1, I mean, he's only a young guy, he's just arrived, but the way that he works like a sponge, just sucks up that experience. That's what has made him so good and so quick. And he really sits there and listens and takes everything in. You hardly hear a word from Oscar, but he hears everybody else's words and piles it all inside. That's a sign of a really quick, growing individual that's learning fast how to race a car. And I think Oliver's got a little bit of that in there. I think he's doing a fantastic job. You're not hearing a lot. He's very quiet. He's just head down and trying to learn and do that job. And mate, everybody makes mistakes. And the big thing is when you make them, learn by them. And he's doing a great job.
So you're putting the call out there early. Oliver Armitt, 9 years old now, would make his Australian Formula Ford Championship debut in about 7 years. So 2030, look out for him in the National Championship. And then a few years later on, say 2035, Formula One for Oliver Armitt. As we'll now have to transfer our attention to the top three, although we haven't received Harry Lawrence to come into the green room. So we'll go to third place, David Gallo from the Kittens Racing Team. Congratulations, third tonight in the feature.
Hey guys, thank you.
That was looked like a pretty fun race there. The three of you consistently fighting it out and duking for every last piece of real estate on the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely. It was good fun. Me and Daniel sort of got out front for a little bit there, but then I could sort of see Harry's time behind us, narrowing. So crew chief kept reminding me, which wasn't nice, but he eventually caught up to us and got us.
Crew chief doesn't really tend to care about your feelings, does he?
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not.
Well, congratulations again on third. We'll chat with Daniel Byrne next. Second place, take it away, Dave Roberts.
Daniel, mate, same to you as we said to David, is that you guys were running really neat there, looking like the team with everything under control. But the party got spoiled a little bit there at the end.
Yeah, we saw Harry. We saw his lap times, and we knew he was a little bit out of place. I think he started in 7th. We knew he was going to be pretty quick, and it was interesting to watch him come through because he was taking different lines to what we were. And I was tempted to start switching my lines up mid-race, but it was a bit risky. I tried it a couple times and lost a couple tenths, so I decided to stick with what I was doing, which was consistent for me. Probably not quite as quick, but what an ending as well. It was so close at the end. Harry made a couple of mistakes. I think his tyres were probably pretty hot, and almost got him right at the end. Great race.
You almost got him on that run to the line. The finish line used to be further down the track, down in front of the grandstand. I bet you were wishing it was there tonight.
Yeah, if only.
Have we got... No, we haven't.
No, we haven't got Harry Lawrence. He's neglected to come and grace us with his presence. So we'll change gears and we'll go back to David Gallo for the thank yous. Who would you like to thank tonight?
Just like to thank the sponsors, which are Kittens Racing, AML Technology, Driver 808, that's Daniel and his YouTube, and a shout out to my wife and my 2 daughters. And obviously you guys, FRG, for putting on such a great league. Some really good racing. Thank you guys.
Brilliant stuff. And for you, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, same. Kittens Racing, Driver 808 on YouTube, AML Technology, and big shout outs to Darren, one of our Kittens members. He's getting his knee reconstructed at the moment, so he's probably watching at the moment, wishing he was on track with us. So get better soon. And big shout outs to Bianca and Frenchie and Minka, Zach Levi, and my daughter Atari.
Lovely stuff. Take every opportunity you can there. Congratulations to you two, and congratulations throwing out there to Harry Lawrence, who failed to greet us in the broadcast tonight.
He's just shot me a message. He's just shot me a message and said he apologises, but he just can't come here because he's not in a situation where he can talk. So there you go.
Oh, you know what that means? That means the family's sleeping and he's racing.
You got it. You got it. That's exactly what it is.
I think we're all doing that.
Yeah, we get to that extent. My room's been battened down well and truly. So congratulations to you two and to Harry Lawrence for taking the win tonight. We'll be up very soon with the gold server coming up here for round 4 from Sandown, the Australian Formula 4 Championship eSeries, thanks to RaceKraft Simulations and driven by FRG.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And just like that, we are back on track, this time with the gold server. This is your fastest 40 qualifiers coming out of pre-qualifying last night. And of course, some of the hottest names in Australian single-seater racing and open-wheel cars in iRacing and the real world showing up in this server day. This is going to be a red-hot race from Sandown.
Well, it looks like it's Monza continuing, because we've got, in qualifying at the moment, Andrew Gilliam has got pole over Damon Woods by about 0.01 of a second, and or 0.01 of a second, and that's about where they finished at Monza. There wasn't very little in it. Andrew Gilliam taking the win there, so he's trying to back that up and get another win under his belt. Eddie Beswick is back. He was missing last round, and Eddie's back there, and he's in third, and Eddie will be running on the weekend. I believe Eddie and Damon will both be running on the weekend, along with Kobe Williams. So you got 3 of the top Formula Forders from Australia up there in the front, battling with Andrew Gilliam. Ewan Baker's a New Zealander, a Scottish New Zealander, and he's extremely quick, so he'll be battling in there as well. And Caleb Hyde's there. That's sort of that front group that's been pretty solid at the front. John Merritt there. He's another one breaking in, and on his day, John can run right at the front with these guys as well.
It's going to get pretty exciting. I was just checking on some of the pre-qualifying results from last night's sessions. Damon Woods was your number 1 pre-qualifier with a 1:14.7. He's matched that. In fact, he's gone just marginally quicker so far in this open qualifying session. Ewan Baker, straight off the back of taking the Driver of the Day award and the Lead New Zealand award from the Motorsports Australia and Next Level Racing Tri-Nations Cup on Sunday afternoon. He won himself some cool prize packs. He won himself, what was it, a Next Level Racing GT track sim rig and a haptic feedback gaming chair as well for his efforts. He was second in pre-qualifying, so he's keeping his head down and getting to work. Mitch Martin was third in pre-qual with a 1:14.9 from John Merritt and Kobe Williams, P5, who is unironically P5 right now in this qualifying session.
I did hear a rumour that Ewan was running on what was basically like a homemade wooden rig with that wasn't very special at all, because we're thinking, God, he's really fast. He probably won't have a lot of use for a new rig. He'll have a really good rig. He didn't. You know, not all of these guys have millions of dollars worth of equipment. A lot of them, like I know Ben Roberts, used to, I don't know whether he still does, but he had a couple of $100 Logitech wheel and basically sort of a wooden rig that he used to run in. So, mate, you don't need $1 million. You just need to be fast.
That's it. You just need to be that way naturally inclined, and that can come from all-out talent or a lot of perseverance and practice. I spent too much money on my rig when I had it, and I still didn't have the pace to show for it. So I know for sure that having all the gear and no idea is definitely a thing. But we're happily sponsored by RaceKraft Simulations here, so we're going to tell you to buy the best gear so that you can support the sponsors and support our series. But RaceKraft Simulations, a local Perth company, local to me at least, for all Australian-made and manufactured and Australian designed sim rigs using 80/20 extrusion. Some of the best craftsmanship you can find, and some of the best equipment as well. They sell all the mainline components, pedals, wheel systems, all the ancillaries and auxiliaries within an in-house sim center that you can go and have a crack at and try out all the different equipment. They even do, and the most fun part about RaceKraft is they even do private functions for things the likes of Bucks parties. We all know what goes on in Bucks parties. Well, you think that and simulators and maybe a couple of cans of liquid courage, it's a great time.
Okay, it looks like we've got Andrew Gilliam's got himself. Oh no, we're into qualifying now. So, are we?
Yeah, there we are. We were in
I thought we were in qualifying before. So this will be interesting because they've only got a limited number of laps. So it's who can do it quickly and put it together. And they'll all be looking for the possibility of getting a bit of a tow if they can. And where you've got multiple car teams, they might try and work together a little bit. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, they've all got to get out of pit lane and get flying first. Of course, they have a limited amount of fuel to use in qualifying. It's only a 15-minute session, but they don't have enough fuel to run for the entire session. So a lot of cars electing just to get on track and have a crack very early here.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I'd want to be out in the middle of that pack, Chris, trying to concentrate and get a lap together with everybody else making mistakes around me, or whether I'd rather be out by myself, give away the tow and just go for a good solid time and get myself somewhere near the front in a good position, track position. So here we see Scott Bertain down in the bottom right-hand corner. You see him for real. And that's him up on screen, and him and his teammate there running together. So they've waited for a clear track to go out together, and they're going to try and tow each other around with Alex Court. They're going to try and tow each other around and put up a really good time by giving a tow one lap to each other. So working together.
Well, hopefully it'll pay off for them as well. You can see in that room, they're actually parked up in the same virtual room. One of the beauties of the way the FRG is structured here in Discord is that you can request for all sorts of the race teams to get their own team room, and we encourage everyone to share their webcams inside the team room so that you can we can drop in with the camera and get a view inside the sim rig, because it's a stark difference from what we see inside iRacing to what we see getting a peek inside the room where all the magic happens.
Ooh.
And at the moment, only one team actually doing that. As oh no, we've got some carnage on track in qualifying. Who was
one of those was Kobe Williams, was the main person in the middle of that, and he's off the road and had a big issue. And I'm not sure. I don't think they're allowed to restart in this. I think it's like if you have an accident, you can't restart. I can't remember. Oh. Gosh, too many series in it, and they've all got varying sort of
just minor differences in the rules. I remember with the A series, season 11 was the last season.
You couldn't do that.
Season 11, you couldn't restart during qualifying. So if you binned your car, you were done, and that was it. And I remember doing that in one race and starting way down the order and hating my life trying to get back through the field. So that might make a very, very long night in the office for young Kobe Williams trying to fight through. Keep in mind, he does have the sprint race of 15 minutes and then the feature of 30 minutes to try and charge through the field here as we pick up Sebastian Vandel just getting across the line on the first flying lap to go through to P4. We've got Liam Luciano into P3. Benny Roberts into second. That's a good start for Benny Roberts here. And Damon Woods showing up straight at the top of the pops with a 1:15.1 to be on provisional pole. Still a long way left to go as the first flying lap was in the books. They've all basically just got the tyres to start to come into the window. And now they're probably finding themselves tripping over each other as so many drivers went out on track. At the moment, we have a grand total of 17. We've got 24 drivers on track in this early phase. There's a few who are all electing to not go out until the later part of the session.
Yeah, and something I wanted to mention before, you were talking away about crew chief, and I thought, well, the guys who are in iRacing know what crew chief is, but some of the people who are watching and have come from the real world to see this are probably going, what do they mean by their crew chief? Crew chief is an electronic program that you run in the background with iRacing, and it's actually a person there who will tell you your position on the track, your lap times, what fuel you've got on. You can actually talk to them and they'll talk back to you. So it's a completely animated system, but it's very, very accurate. And they use that to help them with, making pit stops in long distance races or finding out what the track temperature and sort of state is and where they are, how far up front the guy is, or if the guy behind is catching you. And if you are losing time, you'll come on and say, "Come on, Chris, pick the game up, mate. The guy behind you is catching you," and he actually talks to you over the radio like your real crew chief. So it adds a whole other element to sim racing that brings another element, which is that's oral sort of stimulation of the real world as well as just driving the car.
There's an added segment as well. You can tell it to scold you and swear at you, which is ironic because that was about the childhood of my racing career, getting scolded and sworn at. So I always had that turned on in iRacing. I would well and truly get told off when I was misbehaving. We just spotted there was a Simrex car that towed out of the track and then jumped over to Sebastian Vandel, who was rejoining down at turn 9. So a couple of cars coming a cropper here.
And Vandel is 0.003 off Woods, which is about an inch.
About an inch, you reckon?
I reckon it's about an inch.
We're being told that it was Benjamin Roberts who actually stuffed his car into the fence and towed out of the session. You can see his name is greyed out on the left-hand side timing tower, so he has disappeared from the racetrack as Joshua Fitt climbs up the order and displaces everyone from P4 down. Josh Fitt going through to the 4 spot. That's a good run for him so far.
A really good run. And there's John Merritt there in that P5. He's always, boy, that hurt. He's always threatening these front guys. I've got my money on John to crack into that top 3 somewhere in the next round or two.
We'll see whether he might get lucky here, because I have that ugly kind of feeling that we're going to have a pretty rough race, or rough pair of races here tonight in the gold split. Somebody else well and truly off the road down at turn 9 as John Merritt tries to fight his way through the Sim 3D Sport Ghostbusters entry. Love sim team names. Sim racing team names are just, they're on another planet, like Burnout car names as well. It's a fantastic part of the industry that I'm happy to be involved in.
Sim 3D Sport Ghostbusters. That's John. I love it.
Aiden Martin in the Locked On Banter Alliance racing entry, just getting off the road there at turn 9. Some of them are a real mouthful as well. Try and spit that out.
There's a lot of guys, as I say it, there's a lot of guys spearing off the road here. I'm just looking, the track temperature's 22 degrees. It shouldn't be that big of an issue. I don't know why. Maybe it just hasn't gripped up yet. I don't know, or whether they're just pushing so hard. There's a lot of guys spearing off the road.
Well, the times are into the low mid 114s, and the pole times. Damon Woods has half a second over the rest of the field. He has found a monster or gotten the God's gift of all toes to get around the racetrack.
I've put money on that.
Yeah, I would put a bet on that as well.
I think that's probably, and I'm going to see if I can check in the background, but I think you'll find that a 14.467 would be a world record time for a Formula Ford round Sandown.
It's going to be pretty red hot if he's managed to do that here in qualifying. Still with 6 minutes 50 left on the clock, Dave Roberts is going to go the deep dive into the iRacing results server and find out as we pick up with Caleb Hines in P5. Caleb on his 6th lap of the session chucked it into P5 with a 1:15.201 so far, just displacing John Merritt down the order to P6. Josh Fitt is OUT out of the session. He is already done with just a little under 5 laps completed as Kobe Williams gets back on the racetrack. Luke has even been doing the deep diving. He's jumped on Wikipedia, and we can see that Formula Ford, Chaz Mostert setting the track record in the real world at a 1:14.62. Now, Chaz Mostert may be a name you recognise from a bit of real world racing of the modern era. He was the 2004 Australian champion in junior national light karting at the age of, I think he was 13 or 14 here in Western Australia. Yours truly was in that race, did not finish. That's how good that went. But there he is, there's Chaz Mostert on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. A graduate, did a little bit of time in Formula Ford, I think, as well.
He did.
After graduating
he certainly
from
did.
And then
Yeah, there's currently no world record for because there's been no official iRacing series race of Formula Ford at Sandown. So there's no current world record.
There you go. So we'll claim the unofficial then for Damon Woods. So unofficial world record at a 1:14.4. That's how easily you can claim an unofficial record. Ross Hansen on track right now. He's rocking the very, very beautiful all red livery that holds
livery.
Special place in Dave Roberts' heart.
That's a very old car of mine, so that's great. Ross and I have spent a bit of time together. We do some of the long distance races, so Le Mans 24 hours, Spa 24 hour, and we do that with another Formula Ford guy, Andrew Barron, who joins us, and we have a bit of a run there, and Kurt Bond occasionally joins as well. Kurt's out there somewhere, and we get together as a 4-car team because you can do that in iRacing as well. For the guys that don't know it, you can do driver changes and you can do long distance events. They run 24-hour events like Spa 24 a little while ago, and you come into the pits, you change drivers, you've got fuel strategy, you've got tyre strategy, and the actual race runs for a full 24 hours. There we go. That's my car.
Oh, there you go. There's Dave Roberts. That's your old car.
Yes,
that's even actually moving footage. Look at the crowd you raced in front of. My goodness.
That's Oran Park.
That's the old days of Oran Park. I remember that place. Some fond memories being there as a child. I was there with the Australian Sports Sedan Championship at the age of 8 years old. The 99 or 2000. As we catch a bit of the footage there, Luke sharing a little bit of love. He's having a bit of fun in the background, producing things. I just hope he doesn't find the picture I sent of my early days.
He loves pulling things out of the black hat, doesn't he?
Yeah. There's a bit in our broadcast notes chat that I sent him, and there's pictures of my old Formula Ford cars there, so you might go dig around and find them. I did a replica of the Lotus F1 livery from the early 2010s. Somewhat, as we pick up Jason Brooks' 12th place on the racetrack right now with 3 minutes 15 left to go. Woods, Gilliam and Baker all done on the racetrack. Barndell still circulating, but still in P4.
And I just, on my second monitor, just saw, oh, look, who's that handsome looking bloke there sitting on the front wheel? I just saw Eddie Beswick spear off the road as well. So I think that's probably Eddie's run for pole done and dusted as well to finish 7th. Kobe Williams there in 8th. So, a couple of those guys, I think they would have been hoping to be a little higher than 7th and 8th in Beswick and Williams.
Yeah, you would say so from their recent form. I mean, we look at the championship standings right now as we come up to the halfway point. There's another shot of Robert.
God. Yeah, but do you know the blokes on the left and right?
No,
so on the left there's Russell Engel, and on the right there is Mark Larkham. There you go.
Oh, there's some hot names. Oh yeah, as we get closer, there's a Russell Engel face if I've ever seen.
God, we're never letting Luke. We're gonna get Luke off this stuff.
The problem is we start talking after a race night.
Oh,
he loves diving into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll go back real quick. Check in on the championship here. Kobe Williams currently 3rd in the championship. He is on 498 points behind Andrew Gilliam, 2nd on 565. No surprises, no prizes for guessing who is your championship leader in Damon Woods after a pair of wins and a 3rd place finish so far in the first 3 rounds. And we look for Eddie Beswick, who missed a round. He missed the last round here, a 3rd and a 17. He's 24th in this championship so far. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he can make some inroads here, but having a struggle of a time here in qualifying. I mean, where is Beswick ending up in qualifying? I'm trying to find him.
7th, but what I was looking at there was Ben Roberts is outside the top 10. When was the last time you saw that, Chris?
That was a while ago, I'm sure. He's only completed 3 laps on track and managed a 1:15.4, and Benny Roberts stuffed it in the fence a little bit earlier on in the session. As he went out with the main pack, he was running around with the Simrigs team. As we watch Anthony Marzocca, who's always there or thereabouts on track. He's one of just 4 drivers left circulating. And Marzocca comes across the line, can't improve. He stays 21st on time with 1 minute to go here in qualifying.
Yeah, Ross Hansen there. I just popped on my looking at my second monitor and see Ross come over the top of Rothman's Rise backwards. Probably not the ideal line. So with a 33 seconds to go, mind you, they'll get to finish the laps they're on now. So the guys who have started the lap, once, so long as it's before it goes to zero, will get the opportunity to finish that lap, providing they've got enough fuel, etc. on board. So, there's another one sideways onto the straight, which is Vandel, and he's decided to pull the pin, and he's gone to the pits. So that's Vandel's run over. But, mate, he'd be pretty happy. He's on P2, or P3, isn't he? Second row of the grid. P4. Look at that. That's a big save. Wow. I love the way he's flicked it right straight into the pits. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to call it quits here before I do a wrist injury with the force feedback in a crash. That's usually what you end up doing. So that brings qualifying to a close. That was a long session too. But it was Damon Woods who takes the top spot in qualifying honours the Dur Esports entry, starting on pole with a 1:14.467. On the outside front row of the grid is Andrew Gilliam, 0.3 of a second further behind. Ewan Baker from New Zealand, the Scotsman, starting from third on the grid alongside Sebastian Vandel on the second row. Caleb Hydes will join John Merritt on row 3. Eddie Beswick and Kobe Williams lining up from row 4. And Josh Fitt will start alongside Matt Christensen on row 5. Benjamin Roberts outside the top 10 for the first time in a long time. We see him, he's starting out at position number 11 alongside Jason Brooks, rounding out the 6th row of the grid. Some hot names further back in the field: Mitch Martin to P7, Jack Mara to P19, Aiden Schweikert to P20, Alex Court and Guy Leach. Guy Leach down there in P24. Watch for him to come throughout the course of the races. Seth Brown down in P25. Sean Doyle in P30. Braden Martin. Caleb Bellac down in P34. Caleb's had a shocker of a run here in qualifying. We'll see if he can make inroads throughout the course of a 15-minute sprint. And then the last few names lining up at the back of the bus: Mick Aarons and Tyler Blackburn. And Lockie Capel lining up with the safety car.
Yeah, I'm noticing there too, going through the list, that Liam Lucano, back in 18th place. Now, he's on debut again tonight, but I'm also noticing he's a D-level license, so he's just out of rookies in iRacing. So he's completely new to this, and to be in gold in the top 20, qualifying inside the top 20 at gold, that's a pretty good debut, isn't it, for a D? You can see there, orange D license at P18. So that's a great job by Liam. Really good.
Liam actually qualified well in pre-qualifying with a 1:15 too, so just hasn't quite put it together.
Oh, someone's stuck on the
event. Oh no, we've got carnage further behind, and that is Josh Fitt. Stalled it on the line, has already lost 24 positions at the start. Check this out though, side by side for Woods and Gilliam. Gilliam's going to get the inside line into turn 2. Ewan Baker goes through for third. Caleb Hydes behind in P4 as we come down to Pertet corner for the first time.
Remember, this is only the heat. We've got another whole race to go yet, so this is the heat. I'm going to say it, wait for it, a pretty clean start through the first few corners. I waited until they were through this time. But good run up the back straight. Can Woods go round the outside here? I don't think he's quite far enough up, but Ewan Baker's having a bit of a look down the inside. These guys are hammer and tongs, hard at it. First few corners. Wow.
That's red hot coming out of Dandenong Road corner at turn 9. They go through this pretty quick complex. We've got one car backwards into the fence there, and oh no, all the carnage unfolding. It's turn 2, turn 9. You said it, Dave. You
did it again.
Bloody well said it. You did it again, and now we're going to potentially end up with a safety car. Looks like all cars have actually got going again, so we might just get away with it here. And Andrew Gilliam is going to lead the field away for the first lap in the sprint race. This is a 15-minute sprint before they set the grid for the 30-minute feature. Gilliam from Woods, 1 and 2. Ewan Baker right behind in 3 with Caleb Hydes in P4. Eddie Beswick a little bit deeper in the field. He's up to P5 already, up 2 spots. Sebastian Vandel from the second row of the grid down 2 spots, goes down to P6 already here.
The big movers, or the biggest movers in the field, are back in 19th. Seth Brown's up 6 spots. Now, Seth's very out of position back there. He's usually up at the front somewhere. Nick Aarons is up 10 spots to 27th. And some of the big losers that we've got there. We've got Josh Fitt down 13 spots. We saw him stall on the grid. We've seen Ben Miles down 15. Aidan Schweikert, the young Justin races F3, used to race F3 with you. That's his, I think his 12-year-old son, and he's doing a fantastic job out there, but he's had a shocker of a first lap, and he's down 12 spots, but he's got 2 whole races to come back.
The work yet to be done here. We go on board with Benjamin Roberts coming on to the main straightaway, lining up onto the rear gearbox of Max Christensen, topping out through top gear, 180 k's an hour. These cars will realistically top out at about 230. If you give them enough gearing, they'll get to just a smidge under 210 before they jam on the anchors through Penrite Corner, and they went through side by side as well for Benny Roberts and Max Christensen. Benny now has the inside line into turn 2, gets the JOB done, and Roberts from P11 on the starting grid up to P8 in the early stages here.
Yeah, so there you saw Max give Ben Roberts a bit of room on the outside. He knew that he'd earned the right to some room on the exit of that corner, and it is about giving people room. We see here, and Ewan Baker's trying to shove it down the inside because he wants that run down in the Dandenong Road corner. Can he get it there? No, not quite. It's a big dive down in that Dandenong Road corner. It isn't a real car, and it is more so in these.
Look at what Look at what he's doing here with the pack further behind, though, because you've got Baker trying to harass the back end of Eddie Beswick. Then right behind him, Hides, Merritt, Bundell, all lining up in this fight as well. They are all duking it out. We have ourselves a 7-car chase pack for the race lead here down the main straight. There it is. All 7 of the race leaders as Woods and Gilliam still going side by side into Penrite for turn 1. They've managed to get a little bit of a gap over the next 5 cars lining up behind, but this is an all-in brawl around the circuit of Sandown.
Yeah, and there's that little break there. So who's leading that second pack? Is that Rob? That's Robert sitting in front of that second pack. Ben will be driving the wheels off that, and he will. I reckon he'll pull that whole pack up to the front, and we'll have an even bigger front group. So now we've got Woods down the outside. Oh, a bit of a touch there on the straight, it looks like. So they're certainly going. Woods is making that run around the outside, but I think Gilliam's hanging on to it. He's dropped a great move round the outside, has gone Woods, and he's just managed to get just far enough in front to hold that off. But I don't think Gilliam's going to give it away. He's going to be straight back at him, and sitting there ready to pick up the pieces is Eddie Beswick, and mate, on a single lap when you need it, Eddie can turn a lap like nobody else.
Well, right now, Gilliam can't afford to just sit back and watch things unfold. As we go back to a replay here, check this out for the race lead. Side by side through turn 5, which is just a marginal little kink. They touched wheels and up to the crest just for good measure, and Damon Woods was still brave enough to try and hang it around the outside at turn 6. He leads the way here. Oh no, a bit of action there as Chris Ireland in the Simrigs entry goes to the back of the bus, getting caught up at turn 9. And no, Benny Roberts off the road. Benny Roberts, he was trying to close in the gap to the lead pack and finds himself having to go through the grass, and he is down to 23rd as a result of that off-track excursion.
It does look straight. The car looks like to be tracking straight, and so hopefully minimal amount of damage. So what's happened here, we'll get a look here. So here's Benny at the lead of that second pack, and he's coming out. I think he's just probably cooked it a little bit of that inside curb. Car got a bit loose, up over the outside, and he's gone. And that's such a realistic thing. I've seen that happen many a times with a real race car. So yeah, very, very true to form.
They're so susceptible to weight transition over the top of curves, and they can get unsettled really easily with just a simple cross-ply tyre and no big wings to keep the car planted. They can hurt you real bad here. As we pick up on Liam Luciano getting caught up there, and who's off the road there? Andrew Gilliam off the road with some serious damage.
Very bent.
That's got a completely broken front. So
he'll get one fast repair. So he'll come straight into the pits. The car will be repaired and he goes straight back out. But that's really bad. I'd love to see a replay of that if we can, Mr. Luke.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see
safety cars out. So that'll work in his favour as well. So what's happened here? So we've got. Oh, that was a big issue down. That's it.
That we only saw the back end of that incident.
I only saw.
There's
Can we
Andrew
go
at the
back a
31
bit
car.
further? Hopefully the director can get us back a little bit further. Here we go. Here we see him over the top of Rothman's Rise. I think it's still Rothman's Rise. Down to, and he's lost it. He's
Now, who did he hit? No, he hit
and he's
the
hit
wall.
the fence. And then he doesn't reel the cars all damage, and he's caused chaos. Oh dear.
Oh, look at it, over the top of each other. They're all tripping over each other, trying to get around the circuit at turn 9, and that's going to probably breed a penalty for Andrew.
I think so too, Chris. I was just going to say.
He didn't have control of the car. He was probably
just
still
going to say
having
the
the
same
crash.
thing.
And we'll get it. The shot from his visor cam now. I love this shot. Puts you in so much realism. Loses it in the transition.
Just had a big step out. Did he not get a touch from behind?
Maybe if we could get a shot from the car behind.
The way it just stepped sideways made it look like it. So here we go. Let's have a look from behind. Does he get a tap here?
Watching here as he yes, he does. He gets a little
Yes, he
lick
does.
there. He gets a lick from Caleb Hides, and that turns him around.
I think it was Eddie Beswick there that's put the wheel on him.
It may have been, yeah. Well, Caleb in the pink car as well, and Eddie Beswick a little bit further behind in the 30 car is what brought them unstuck. So the safety car out to pick up the field. Lockie Capel, capably driving.
Beswick's further back. So yes, you're right. It was Caleb Hides, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Caleb Hides in the 92 entry.
So I think you might find another person with a little bit of a conversation going on with race control there. I think you'll find because he's definitely put a.
In the eyes of a racer, I wouldn't put Caleb Hides at fault there because he was on the apex doing what he needed to do.
Yeah.
And the gap just closed very rapidly there. Eddie Beswick going off the road as a result of that incident down at turn 9.
Bit of a racing incident, wasn't it? It's just that happens when you're racing, and it is unfortunate there. They've certainly touched wheels, but I think that you may find Andrew Gilliam suffers a bit of a penalty from the rejoin here and the chaos that he now causes in the second group. Somebody flying over the top, and that's very bent.
Yeah, the 12 of Max Christensen getting so badly caught up, he has fallen way down the order to 27th on the racetrack. So he paid the ultimate price, as did it was one of those cars that went over the top of Max in that incident down at turn 9 that brought their night undone. Luckily, it is only the sprint. We have the opportunity to get back through the field and charge forward again here in the feature. Tim Harris for Locked On Banter Alliance Racing. And that looks remarkably like the car that went for a wild ride down at turn 9 flying through the air. So that might be who was the other driver to get caught out. He's just been allowed to go past the safety car and get a lap back. He'll have to make his way around and join the back of the bus before we get racing.
Yeah, now, it is uncanny how Damon Woods always seems to be able to keep himself out of trouble. In all of that happening, the one guy who seems to be able to have the seas part and drive through is Damon, and you've got to say he contributes to that because, you just can't have that much luck. You create your own luck, and I do think he's got a pretty smart head on him, and he just seems to be able to stay out of trouble. I don't know why, don't know how, but he's darn good at it.
Well, it's the opposite of what we usually see with many people who get on the internet forums and complain about getting driven into all the time. And you turn around and you say, okay, well, what's the lowest common denominator in this series of incidents?
You're involved in them all.
You're involved in them all. Where Damon Woods has this uncanny ability to stay out of trouble. He drives with a very sensible head on his shoulders, looks after his equipment in the sim or in the real world, and that comes through either just being incredibly lucky or actually driving in a very intelligent manner. He knows when to push, he knows when to attack, but he knows when sometimes the risk is not worth the reward. And that's why time and time again we see Damon Woods parked at the top, and that's why he comes into tonight's racing with a 75-point lead in the championship at the beginning of round 4. He holds 640 points with 2 firsts and a third in the round positions after the first 3 rounds over Andrew Gilliam, who's going to suffer big time tonight after that incident, in second place on 565. So right now, Damon Woods sitting in the box seat to really increase his lead. As the safety car has bolted, we're getting set for a restart.
Keep it straight, Lachlan. Keep it straight, mate. And
we put him on screen too.
So we're on board with Lachlan Capel here in the safety car. So he's ripping towards the pit lane. He'll get off the pit lane. Damon will take control of the race and control of the restart. And when's he going to go? Because you got a hell of a long way down that front straight. And Ewan Baker is a very smart cookie. He's got a very smart head on his shoulders. Look how close he is. I think he's not going to let Damon get away with this. And I think Damon's going to probably hold this until the very last minute before he goes.
He's going to see if he can get lucky. Now he goes and we go green. And look at that. He managed to get a car length.
Caleb Hyde's made a cracker. He's made a cracker restart, Caleb. He got the run on Ewan Baker. Ewan probably got a little bit close there to Damon and sort of balked himself. And, they were diving over that curb. There's a little bit of room there. You can use it. And Baker's back. Caleb's not giving him any room whatsoever. I'm not feeling good about second and third. Oh, Jack Mara's up through the pack. Look there.
No.
What did I say? And that's Ewan Baker in the wall.
Has he got damage? Yes, he does. The front right.
Yes, he does.
It's hurt. And Ewan Baker, it goes from whiskey to job done.
I'd like to see a replay of that one because I'm not sure that was all Ewan's fault. But anyway, we'll see.
Well, they disappeared out of shot momentarily as they went into turn.
And look who's disappeared.
And they were side by side, Ewan Baker and Caleb Hydes. Now, that we lost that shot as we went back through the field, but look at this, Damon Woods, 1.5 seconds clear of Sebastian Vandel. Here comes the replay from the start. Woods getting going here. Watch this from Hydes. He gets a brilliant run, timed it fantastically, looks to the inside. Ewan Baker can't do anything now. Keep in mind, I think Caleb is in the same Discord chat with Damon Woods, so probably would have known when they were going. Baker goes climbing over the exit curve at turn 1, gets back to the inside here at turn 2, has the outside run through 3. Caleb gives him room and tries to go around the outside. Caleb hit the curb and ran straight across the front nose, or the front left wheel of Ewan Baker and
cut him straight into the wall.
Into the fence and out of the race.
Yeah, I'm sure race control were having a really, really, really good look at that one. So I can see here at the moment, I think Sean Doyle sitting on the outside of turn 1 with 3 wheels on the canoe, and there's a couple of cars off. So
oh no,
not sure what's going on. Yeah, look at that, 3 wheels on the canoe. There you go. In a sea of grass.
The Vermilion Motorsports entry for Sean Doyle, who made a pretty good run to get himself into the race. He just toes off to the pit lane as we run down just the final few seconds of the race here. This might be a white flag, might actually be a checkered here for Damon Woods while we've been talking about it.
One more to go.
White flag comes out, 1 to run for Damon Woods here in the sprint, but look at the margin that he has put on over Caleb Hyde's back there in second. He is charging ahead and trying to knock this one out of the park to secure pole for the feature.
And Beswick's up to third. Vandel in fourth. Now, Kobe Williams has dragged himself back to 7th after his misdemeanors, and that's a pretty good result for Kobe. He's got himself back in contention for the feature race by getting himself up to 7th. But this is not over. There's another one. That's a huge hit. Was that Beswick? Yes, it is.
Oh, no.
Look at that, reversing back out of the way so he can stay out of trouble. But that was a huge hit by Beswick.
Oh, no.
Teammates.
I think it was teammate on teammate violence. Bit of friendly fire between the two of the Eclipse Motorsport entry.
Looked a bit like that Barrichello incident at Imola there, the way he flew up into the barrier. So
here we go. See what happened here. Oh, and he gets the front end of, was that Vandel?
Yeah,
was that Sebastian Vandel? He caught the front left off, and that turned the car into the fence for Eddie.
There's just not enough room to go through that little right-left flick 2 abreast. So Damon Woods wanders off into the distance and goes, where did everybody go? You know, he's done it again. He's just managed to stay out of trouble, be fast and clean. And look at this mad race for positions further back. So, they're all battling there. Ben Roberts actually finished 11th, so he's back where he started. And here's one coming over the line sideways, crabbing its way across the line, whoever that is. That's Mick Aarons. That looks like it needs a wheel alignment, doesn't it? It's popped back into straight, but it's still on driving straight.
Back out. Let's see what happened here to cause that incident. Down into the final set of corners. And Mick Aarons just gets a bit of a tag.
That'll be a drive-through.
that was Caleb Balak in that incident.
Yep.
So Caleb not keeping his nose clean in this race, and that has caused all sorts of drama for Mick as he watches more and more drivers go flying on by to be out or to lose his position in that race. But no such drama for young Damon Woods. What a brilliant drive here in the sprint. He secures pole for the feature race, and he can just cruise on down and take the win in a commanding fashion for the.
He'll be hoping that's setting the tone for the rest of the weekend for him, I expect.
Hopefully he can convert the kind of pace that he has in the sim over to the real world. There's a look at your racing results from the sprint race. Damon Woods clear by 3.2 seconds over.
And he's here with us in the green room, Chris.
He has
Already
in the green room, so we'll
drag him in.
Jump on and drag him in a second here. Caleb Hyde's in
G'day,
second.
Damon.
Mitch Martin in third.
Oh no, I'm trying to.
You got Caleb Hyde. We'll get Damon Woods.
Right.
We'll pick up John Merritt and Toby Williams P5. We've got both Damon Woods and Caleb Hydes in the broadcast studio. Congratulations, Damon Woods. That was a commanding race from the safety car restart there.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough that absolute chaos kicked off behind me, so I was able to build that gap over a second, which is, the draft limit in this car. So, yeah, just able to pull away from there.
A brilliantly driven race, mate. You didn't seem too worried about the pace of the guys around you trying to force you into a mistake or anything throughout the early part of the race?
My goal was trying to get back to the lead after my botched start, so yeah, I was just trying to do that safely as possible. And yeah, unfortunate for Andrew, he got turned around at turn 6, but yeah, that's racing, and stuff like that happens.
Well, it's ironic you say that, because we'll now talk to the other car that was involved in that incident. Caleb Hyde's coming home in second. What was your thoughts on how that unfolded at turn 6? It's a high-speed part of the racetrack. You had the inside line, and you just managed to touch wheels.
I think that was Eddie. I touched wheels with a fair few people out there in that race, but not Gilliam, so.
Oh, it might have been Eddie Beswick then. So then Dave Roberts was right. We had the wrong car. But congratulations, mate. Second place. It's pretty tough to get across in a track like this.
Well, yeah, it's a good result. Finally, I've got a Motorsport Australia podium, so that's all right. We'll see if they take it away from me or not. It was a bit close with you in there, but it was a bit difficult because he was on the outside, and just the way the car's momentum works, I didn't really have much anywhere to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, at the moment, we haven't seen anything come through, but that should put you in the front few spots on the starting grid for the feature. What's the strategy for the 30-minute race?
Probably just follow Damo, mate, and see what happens.
That's fair enough. That's probably a good strategy considering his form lately.
Oh yeah, it's good to follow a bloke who's 30 seconds faster than me, so yeah, it'll be good.
Damon Woods, what's the strategy for you, my friend? You're going to try and lead out more of the same here in the feature. You've got 30 minutes to try and get it done. You don't need to be as dominant in the early stages.
I'm going to try and convert the starting like I did in the first race, so we can try and control the pace of the field, and hopefully maybe pull away if there's some chaos that kicks off behind.
Well, best of luck.
While you're here, I was watching the Winton Historics on the weekend. You weren't driving an HQ out there, were you?
I was. My uncle had a car that needed to be sold and needed to be run, so he was like, "Oh, Damon, you're driving." So yeah,
There you go.
It was a fun experience. It didn't quite have the pace, unfortunately, because the motor was a bit down, but it is what it is. It's a time in a race car, so I don't really mind.
What do they like to drive?
Yeah, exactly. Drive anything.
What do they like to drive, Damon?
They require a little bit more lock than a Formula Ford, and they don't stop as well, and don't have the same grunt that a Formula Ford does. So it was definitely a different kind of beast, if you can really call it that. But
Beast is probably the right word.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck for the next one, Damon. All the best.
Thank you.
And
very
same
much.
to you, Caleb.
Thank you very much. We'll try and make it exciting.
We'll let the two boys go here as we just run through the final minute of the warm up.
Yeah.
Dave,
It was very funny.
mate.
I was watching the Historics, and it's got car number 56 and an HQ with Damon Woods in it, and I'm thinking, is it? And I'm thinking, well, it's got to be because it's got his number on it. So that was quite funny.
It's a pretty common theme to pick up on young hot shoe drivers finding their way into the seats of race cars week in, week out. Because once you start winning and performing very well, as the phone starts to ring. I'm sure that was the theme of your early days of your career, Dave, when you were Australian champion. The calls started coming in all over the place.
Yeah, it's interesting. I went out to a historic meeting up here in Queensland not so long ago, and there's this bloke out there absolutely throwing this little yellow Datsun 1200 round, going, my God, he's just off the tree. It was Matt Campbell on holidays from Porsche.
Oh, there you go.
He's got this thing called Daisy, I think it's called. It's a bright yellow little Datsun 1200 historic racer. He's out there racing around with his uncle. You never know who you're going to see where.
That's exactly right. You never do. As we take a look at your starting grid for the feature race, we go for 30 minutes this time by. And if the heat or the sprint race is anything to go by, Dave, we're going to be set for a bit of a thriller here at Sandown.
Yeah, well, we got 30 minutes. The last time it was only 15. This is twice the trouble, I reckon. So we're now waiting for the green, and Wood's there on the right-hand side of the screen on the pole with Caleb Hydes next to him on the left-hand side there on the front row, and away they go. And has Damon managed to get it off the line this time? It looks like he has, but I think Caleb's actually got a bit better start, has he?
He looked like it in the early phase of the start. Damon gets the inside line. Track position wins out every time. Wood leads the way through the opening corner as the melee of cars goes flying around turn one. And Benny Roberts going the ultra wide line through the grass. He'll definitely cop a slowdown for that, or at least cop the off tracks. And the rejoin down the bottom end of the running order as the whole field goes flying past this beautiful camera shot on the exit of turn 4 at Pertec corner. There's your mate Ross Hansen back at the bus, I believe. For Ross there, was it?
That was Kurt at the back of the bus.
Kurt Bond at the back of the bus.
Yeah, so John Merritt's come up into contention. You know, I said earlier, I reckon John's on for cracking a podium here somewhere, and he's got himself up in P3. I see there Kobe Williams dive down the inside. That's Mitch Martin, I think, round the wrong way, is it? It's a 46. It is. It's Mitch Martin dropping down through. So I think there was a bit of a touch there between him and Kobe Williams, because Kobe did a big dive down the inside into Dandenong Road trying to make spots early to get up onto the tail. He's after a spot on the podium. So now we might see that. See, there's Williams down the inside, and they've... Oh, no, it's not. It is...
12 car, I think, or the 19 of Varndell, I think it was, catching the left rear.
Or Seth Brown. Is it Seth Brown, maybe?
Okay, we'll figure it out again, I'm sure, but it was one of the two PNN simulation cars, and that has brought out the safety car on the opening lap. So once again, we catch a safety car on lap 1 here in the feature. Let's get a look at the replay again. So it was the 2 car coming up behind Mitch Martin. So it was actually the 2 of Seth Brown catching onto the left rear of Mitch Martin and turned him around. And that was a harsh incident there for Mitch, and puts him well and truly out of this race.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because Mitch was having a good run and he got himself up to the front pack for the feature race, and to be facing the wrong way so early there, not really any fault of his own, but I feel it was a bit of a result of being out of position by the Kobe Williams dive down the inside, which was a nice little piece of driving to do that. But it felt like that sort of was the catalyst for that whole incident. So now we've got John Merritt's up to P2, Caleb Hydes is back to P3, and Williams is there in 4th, and we're under safety car, so they're just rocking around with a bit of pace to catch up to the safety car here. So now they'll all pull up behind, calm down, take position. Hopefully there's no concertinas.
Hopefully not, as they all get bunched up. Lachlan Capel doing a great job wheeling the FRG Aston Martin safety car this evening. And
we're looking at young Aiden Schweikert there. Now, Aiden's I was saying Justin that you used to race F3 with his father. Then Justin's only young and doing a great job. Here he is, in the just outside the top 20 in gold. What a great job! And here we're seeing that concertina behind the safety car where they're all slowing down. It's a bit like Burke Street in Melbourne on a Friday afternoon.
It sure is. going to take the opportunity, Dave, to preview some of the action that's coming up in the real Australian Formula Ford Championship. Heading to Sandown this weekend, where you might see some of the names you hear in this race showing up on the starting grid and having a good time.
So I think you'll find that Damon Woods, Kobe Williams, Eddie Beswick will definitely be out there. I'm not sure if Mitch Martin's running. I think that, I don't know who else is running, but I think those guys will definitely be there. But it's a real opportunity to not only go out and watch them race, but wander down to the pits and sort of see them. And I'm sure if you walked up and said, "Hey, mate, I raced with you on a Tuesday night in the eSeries," I'm sure these guys would love to say hello. So, here's the rest of the series. We've got Sandown Raceway this weekend on August, and Phillip Island on the 24th of September is again a double round where we'll run the E-Series the weekend before. Unfortunately, the final round there, we don't have the bend in iRacing, so we can't do that one. But we've got a couple of special events for later on in the year at traditional worldwide sort of Formula Ford events. So, but we're trying to bring the series along lines of the real thing with the real drivers and make it that sort of a little bit where guys who are thinking or would love to be in Formula Ford get an opportunity to sort of get out there and compete with those real guys in the real in a similar car on the real circuits and just get a bit of a taste of what it's like, and maybe some of these guys in future we'll see them driving like the Justin Swikert or out there running in the future in a Formula Ford. I'd love to see that. That would be fantastic to think that we'd been able to be a bit of a catalyst to make something like that happen.
It's a brilliant category to get going with your racing career, whether you're young or old, or whether you're eyeing off the dizzying heights of professional motorsport, or whether you're a club and racer looking to get involved and have a ton of fun in some of the most visceral and most demanding single-seaters available for this level of funding. They are a fantastic category to get involved with. And of course, you can get going and you can use the Ray Racing Cars FF1600 inside iRacing, which is what we're driving here tonight. And how good is it, the fact that iRacing have stepped up and have really come to the plate in recent times to bring more grassroots cars to the system and to the platform to allow people to really get the feel of the cars and the types of racing that they may have missed out on, not always having the funding in their junior years to have a crack at a car like this.
Yeah, they're a great little car to drive, and for people who are interested in Formula Ford, there's not just the Duratec National Championship type car. There is also the Kent class, which is using the old Ford 1600 Kent engine. It's about 8 seconds a lap slower than the Duratec. Duratec's a really lot quicker car, bigger brakes, bigger tyres, more horsepower. The Kent engine is less horsepower, but great car to drive. And this car here is modelled with the Kent engine in it. So, it is a great little car. But then there's also
the Ford engine.
Yeah, what I call the real Formula Ford engine, yeah. I get told off for saying that. But also, you've got historic Formula Ford. You don't have to buy the latest thing. If you just want to go out there and just experience Formula Ford, you can go and buy a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old Formula Ford and go out there and just do weekends and have a bit of a drive and be out there with the boys and have a beer after the race and a bit of a barbecue and do some bench racing and just really enjoy the sport. You can do that in the Formula Ford as well. So there's so many ways that you can be involved, and a lot of the guys doing that are 50 plus, 60 plus out there in those historic cars, as well as the young guys, and it's fantastic sport. So now we're coming around to the restart, and again Damon Woods holding that restart to the very, very last second. And away he's gone, and Merritt's up into second, but Caleb's making this same run down the inside that he did before. I think he's done it again. He's magic on the restart.
He's had a crack at it. He's got a brilliant start for the second time on these safety car restarts. He gets the inside run into Penrite at turn 1. As we look around the outside goes Shepherd in the Vermilion Motorsport car. We pick up on Caleb Balak, who's right in the middle of an absolute knife fight with these Formula Fords going on the way through turns 2 and 3. There's a whole field going past on the exit at the exit wall here at turn 4. It's a fantastic category to get involved with, and this is the kind of racing you can expect to see when we pack this many of them into such a small circuit here at Sandown. 3.15 kilometres, 3.19, something like that. around the circuit here as we got a side-by-side almost into turn 6 from the 44 of Alex Court, who's looking to make his move. He's just in front of Jack Mara, right behind coming out of turn 9, and look at that. He is hanging on for dear life. Alex Court having a red-hot crack at it tonight inside the top 10.
That's a great job by Alex, and you can see him concentrating hard down there on the right, and you know, he's got his eyes on all the screens, where he is, what position, where he's running, how his fuel is, are his tyres up to temperature. And we've got another, well, I got another moment in the background, and that's Joshua Fit round the wrong way, I can see in the background. Yeah, it's just, it is about keeping your concentration too. You lose concentration for a second, you're off the road and you've lost the position. So we see Kobe Williams there working really, really hard on John Merritt. He wants that last position. He doesn't want the last position. He wants all the positions on that podium. But there's a wide. Is that Seth Brown gone wide again, or is it? No, it's that's
19, Sebastian Vandel getting caught up on the exit of turn 4. He goes down to 13th. He's fighting down to 14th now, getting
look who's in P10.
Into P10, Andrew Gilliam.
Andrew Gilliam's back into P10, and there we go. Kobe Williams has got that third spot off Merritt. He's got up the inside of him over the Rothmans rise, and there's Gilliam there, down the outside.
We have another safety car being called by FRG Race Control. So everyone rapidly jumping on the anchors to slow up and trying to be careful not to cause the Constantina crash here.
I wonder what's caused that one.
All slow up as they come around the final chicane and onto the main straight. We'll pick up the safety car. We're going to see what the cause was. This was the 9 of Ben Miles with a well-broken vehicle. And it's not even cooperating, trying to go in a straight line. So Ben, well and truly out of control. And as
we've got another car in the sandpit on the exit of the last corner as well.
And there was another one there. That's on the final corner.
There you go.
So wonder what that can't have been the actual cause of the safety car, because that car was moving, relatively speaking.
The one that towed wasn't.
Yeah, the one that
wasn't
towed
moving at all.
Out of the racetrack wasn't caught up there. I think that was Benjamin Roberts as well. Benny Roberts showing grayed out on our SDK timing screen and down in 36th position. So a rough night at the races for Benny Roberts as we hit the second safety car of the feature race. Not really getting too much of a chance to get off and rolling with all out-and-out racing here. But,
now, somebody we haven't mentioned tonight, Chris, somebody we haven't mentioned tonight there and having a great run is Jason Brooks there up in P6. That's not somebody we've seen too often right at the front, so he's having a really good effort tonight, really good showing, and it's nice to see fresh faces in that top group.
Well, Brooks down in 22nd in the championship so far after 3 rounds, qualified into tonight's racing at...
Isn't that black car with the blue stripes on the front of it there? That's Jason Brooks, and we've seen him before because I've commented on his lovely livery. But yeah, that's a really, really good run for him up in that top 6. And you know, it wouldn't be much to think 2 or 3 of those guys in front of him could be off at any point in time.
Well, one of those guys could be Jason Brooks as well, the way that the racing has gone so far. So he's probably going to be wise to not count the chickens quite before they hatch. But sitting there in P6 is a great run so far. Damon Woods is going to lead the field around here from Heights.
Wave bys happening again.
Okay, so we're going to take another lap at least under safety car here to get the waiver rounds going on. Part of FRG racing policy that under safety car we move the whole field to the left-hand side of the racetrack and we grant the opportunity for some waiver rounds for anybody who is a lap down. They get the opportunity to pass the whole field and get back around to get back onto the lead lap. So you can see here, the case in point is Anthony Marzocca, who has been instructed if he's a lap down to move across
Come on, Anthony,
to the
get
right-hand side of the racetrack. Well, he can't go until he's told he's allowed to go. Wave rounds can then...
I did hear the wave rounds had commenced. So
okay, so Anthony just playing funny buggers here. And he's going to actually try and start passing some cars and get back around to the tail end of the field before they go racing for green. So there goes Anthony. As the one of, I think it's actually the only car a lap down on the racetrack. Any best out of the race.
The other benefit he'll get out of this is he does a flying lap. His tyres will be nice and warm at the end of this lap, and the other guys are all going to be stone cold sitting behind the safety car.
Will, that is absolutely correct. As Anthony running a bit of an old school livery as well. He loves his all white cars from the field so far, and loves his Holden Manufacturing Heritage Association sponsorship on the car. And he
A
gets
Holden
his,
on the side of a Ford is just not right, is it?
Well, it's only a Ford power plant. I mean, the engine comes out of the 1969 Ford Escort Ghia, if my memory serves me correctly.
Cortina as well.
And
Within
the
a few different
Cortina,
cars.
and made its way into Formula Ford at the inception of the category in 1970. That's 22 years before I was born.
67 in the UK.
67 in the UK, that's right. And has been surviving and is still a very strong staple in the junior formula and development of young racing careers, even to this current day. That's how good this category is. And some fantastic racing on offer. And it wasn't until the early 2000s in Australia where we adopted the use of the Duratec engines, the Ford Duratec engines that were found in the Ford Fiesta, I believe, and then adapted to fit in these cars using the same transmissions, but more modernised chassis. And of course, the more modern engine architecture allowed for a lot more horsepower. The Kent engine examples you see here, rocking about 120 horsepower, 120 horsepower, you reckon?
115, 120 horsepower, something like that.
Yeah, 120 on a good day with a run up down the hill, I think, and a stout tailwind to help them out as well.
I don't know what a Duratec puts out.
And the Duratecs, I think they put out about 150, right. 160 for they're a naturally aspirated 2-litre, I think it is, electronically controlled with Motec ignition, the whole lot. Yeah. So a very big difference between the two eras in Formula Ford, but it's great to see that the Kent engine example is being utilised in iRacing, and a shout back to some of the more old school days of this category.
And because worldwide the Kent engine's still used in British Formula Ford, it is used in conjunction with the Honda Fit engine in the States for F1600 now. That's right. You know, it's probably the most often found engine. And again, he's gone early this time. Damon Woods, instead of waiting till the start-finish line, this time he's gone early. And Caleb Heights has got another move on. He's going to go down the inside here, I reckon. He can come on, Caleb. Show us you can do it again.
He's backed out of it.
He's backed out of it.
Well and truly as well. He rolled right out of the throttle, almost drove his gearbox into the nose cone of Toby Williams down at turn 1. We've got one car off the road, Brody Shepard running very wide there at turn 1. And there, a couple of cars back is Guy Leach, who had a fantastic run going at Monza and in the pink car. So Guy's come back through. He's in top 16. He won't be disappointed with that, but he won't be happy with that. But he had a fabulous run at Monza. So I think he's been struggling to find the pace here at Sandown. And we're on board now with Aidan Schweikert, the young 12-year-old, or as I believe he's 12, somewhere around there, but doing a fabulous job. Picture would tell the story. Rocking in the cadet class colours in the Formula K kart. It is in his go-karting profile picture. He's having a crack there with Caleb Belak for positions 18 and 19. Caleb having a rough run in his car tonight. We saw him caught up in an incident earlier on in the sprint race. Caleb barely struggling to hang on to a top 20 result for the man who's running 16th in points so far with point standings, or just as he cops a penalty as well, 5-second penalty for causing an incident on lap number 5. Caleb
and Kobe Williams has grabbed second place.
Yes, he has.
Kobe grabbed second place from Caleb Hyde down into turn 1. So now this is the fight you'll see on the weekend, I think, too. You'll see Damon Woods and Kobe Williams. We're just missing Eddie Beswick, because those guys there's a big accident down in turn 1. I can see Ewan Baker backwards on the grass there. There's cars spearing everywhere, so that was not pretty. But yeah, now here's Hyde's coming back up the outside of Woods. He's got him back. He's got around the outside of Kobe Williams. So these guys are really flinging it down through the twisty bits there, and on the back of them, Seth Brown. And Seth, for a minute there, I thought it was Andrew Gilliam back. He's not far away. He's only 4 cars behind them, but it's trying to get through this traffic to get a clear run. So there's Gilliam there in the same black and white livery as Seth Brown. And he's just struggling to get back through those guys. He's stuck there behind Jack Mara at the moment. Jack in his hot dog car. I love Jack's liveries. They've always got a great sense of humour about Jack's cars, and he's got a great sense of humour too. He loves his racing. And Jack, New Zealander, very late over there for him. It's about 20 past midnight on Tuesday night. He's probably got to go to work in the morning, but mate, he's here always.
No,
So
we've got a big spin behind. We've got a big spin at one of the Vermilion cars getting caught up, and there's cars going left, right, and centre. Brody Shepherd, that is, caught up again at turn 1, and 2 more getting stuck into each other. Nathan Verney, and that looks like the 047 entry, or the 947 Tyler Blackburn, getting caught up in the incident as well.
I think he tried to get out of the way, and actually it went the wrong way.
Let's see here. Shepherd spins it, and 2 of the cars
What a
coming right
place
up on
to
him.
be sitting!
No.
No. Oh dear.
That's a real crying shame. Brody Shepherd moved the car to the inside of the racetrack and tagged another car. We'll see the incident here from Tyler Blackburn's perspective. We'll go on board on top of the roll hoop. Thanks, Luke.
Not much he could do.
No, an absolute sitting duck right now. The car in front, 2 cars in front, just gets tagged and comes across. Whack. Can't do anything about that.
Nope.
And that's 2 more cars pretty much out of contention as a result. And Alex Court now getting caught up. He's got damage as well.
Major damage on the right-hand front.
Oh dear. And you can see
And he's
there's
not
a little
happy.
frustration.
Yep, not happy, and I don't blame him. Alex had a great run going tonight. It's such a pity to see him there sitting off the track with a bent car. I see Guy Leach has just had a bit of an issue as well. That's a smoke you can see there in the background. But Damon Woods is out front, and he's out of trouble again. I mean, how is he doing this?
He seems to just have the next level of pace that he can go to when the time calls upon. You can see him floating the car over the top of the curb through that 789 complex. You can see
The car's already damaged.
As he was coming down into those final chicanes, then he basically runs the car off the road, and I think that's his race done once he lost traction on the grass.
Yeah.
Nowhere that Alex could go to try and
it won't
lift
steer.
the car back to the pits.
See, it won't steer.
That's a shame. To be that close to the pit lane as well, because you'd think he's only maybe about 50 metres from making it into the pit lane and being able to grab the fast repair to continue on. Instead, he's forced to go to the pits.
So here's Jack Mara at the moment. Jack's working on the back of. Now, who's he working on the back of here? Is that Seth Brown or is it car 44?
No, this is a replay with Alex Court. So coming out of turn 1, Mara goes up over the curb and they go down into the turn 2-3 chicane. Jack just squeaks in front, and there was no carnage there. So what's happened here for Alex Court is he's okay coming out of turn 4, and somehow
Got to have happened down on road, hasn't it?
but it had to have happened down at turn 9. He's running right with the 31 car, which is one of the V&M simulation entries, who looks to the
It's Andrew
far
Gilliam,
inside.
31.
And actually, it's 2 for 1 for Andrew Gilliam. Jack Mara goes across the racetrack, tags with Gilliam, who then bounces off and then spears into the front right, and Court cops a damage. So that is a very awkward
That
change
was
of events
just
there for Alex Court.
awkward, wasn't it? There was, just cars sort of a little bit out of control. Everybody a little bit over the edge and out of control. So
I hate
very,
to be the
very
guy that says
unfortunate.
it, but we'll probably repeat what we said a little bit earlier on. Is you find yourself in situations repeatedly, you got to look at the most common denominator, and unfortunately, it was just a circumstance where people like Damon Woods would have backed out and let the situation happen in front of them, and be able to continue on. Unfortunately, Alex Court stayed into it and ended up in the crash. That
Sort of
brought his
comes
race
with
undone.
having the confidence that you've got the pace. You can go, I don't need to pass now. I'll just hang back. I can pass him the next corner, because you've got that confidence that you've got the speed to do so. Whereas the guys are a bit desperate to get there because they're fighting too hard. They don't necessarily have that pace. They're trying to make everything a winner, and that's where the force issues and accidents happen. Very unfortunate. But anyway, we've got great battle going on here on screen between Caleb Dawson and Max Christensen, I think it is. Is it 29 is Christensen? Yes. Oh, no, it's Caleb Dawson who's 29. So
Dawson
Christensen there and behind them. Yeah, so, and there's Mara still battling away. If we ever get a good shot of Mara's livery, it's the hot dog car. And here we go. See, American hot dogs. Typical Jack. He's always got a great sense of humour, and I love it.
So long he ran the was it the Tinder car in the F3A series?
The Flinder, the flaming mustard up the front of the hot dog. I think that is.
He loves
Hilarious.
a good race with Theodore. From a distance, it almost looks like a Red Bull livery, which I think is what sells it for me. Is it looks like he's just stepped out of the Red Bull Junior team. He's even gone the ways of getting the matching wheel colours on for Jack Mara, who's a red-hot talent in F3 these days in iRacing official series, as well as we just turn our attention back to the battle out front. Kobe Williams looking at the inside on Caleb Hydes. Can't get the job done here. Tucks back in behind. Now that's a sign of a smart drive right there from Kobe Williams. He knew he couldn't get the job done at turn 6, so just jams it in behind the gearbox of Caleb Hydes and decides to probably go after him on the following lap. 5 minutes 40 left to go here in the feature race. Damon Woods is untouchable out front. The battle is on for second, third and fourth right now between Hydes, Williams and Merritt in the fourth spot.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the straight line speed of Kobe Williams. He doesn't seem to quite have the straight line speed. And in iRacing, the great thing is there's no fast engines and slow ones. They're all exactly the same. The only reason you might have cars a bit slow is if you've got a little bit of damage. Sometimes it can knock your top end speed. So I'm just wondering whether Kobe's picked up a little bit in his battle there somewhere where he's touched somebody and carrying a little bit of damage. He doesn't seem to be able to hold Caleb off on that back straight, whereas when they were trying on Damon Woods, I mean, Damon could hold them off up there. So interesting. So there we've got the pink car of Guy Leach sitting there on the back of this little battle. I'm not quite sure who's in front of him. I'm going to have a quick look. I'm thinking that's Vandel, Martin and Bartain. So Mitch Martin in the blue car in front there. So now what do we pop to here? Great little battle between Braden Martin and Schweikert. So yeah, so Aiden's here putting on the move on the inside, and he's through into the top 12. What a great little drive.
Yeah, great run there for Aiden Schweikert. He's up to P12 now. Just gets a good look at the back end of Jack Mara, who's making his way through. Max Christensen losing a spot down to P11 now. But Schweikert keeping it in the family here with the Sharp Extensive IT Solutions entry number 7, making his way up the field. He's doing a great job, as well as Hydes had the fastest lap for a moment at the point end of the field. Andrew Gilliam went quicker though. He's tagged onto the back of the top few cars. He's just a few seconds off the back of that battle for the top 5. Kobe Williams trying to do everything he can to hold on to second and try and charge after Damon Woods, but I think the damage has already been done here, because the gap out front, 2.8 seconds with 3.5 minutes left to go. It's going to be very hard pressed for Williams to make any sorts of inroads on that battle, as Hydes and Merritt go side by side over the crest, and Hydes slots into P3. John Merritt back to P4, then Brown, and then you can see just in the background of the shot, Andrew Gilliam making his comeback drive up 11 spots after disaster struck in the sprint race earlier this evening.
That's a really, really nice bit of driving from Andrew Gilliam to get himself right back. Oh, that's Leach and somebody in the background. I'm trying to look who that is. It is Guy Leach and Vandel.
Vandel, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Guy, how bad's the car, mate? That's the first thing you'll be looking at. Now, down the front here, Merritt's coming back at Hydes. Hydes does seem to have really good straight line speed in this car. They've all got the same setup, so they should all be identical, but he's obviously getting off the corners or something very well, because he's got really good straight line speed. Yeah, Merritt's right on, and I reckon Gilliam's on for... Can he get himself back on the podium in the last couple of minutes? 2-3 laps to go. Is it possible?
He's going to have to really get the hammer down. He's 3.6 seconds off the back of the top 5 here is Andrew Gilliam. Seth Brown at the back of that little group, just watching the exchange take place for 3rd and 4th. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Merritt sideways through turn 6. Hydes tucking in behind was equally as locked up and sideways, trying to scamper for a bit of traction in the fastest section of the racetrack as we pick up on this now. 3 wide down into turn 6. It's not going to work well.
That's not looking pretty.
Black taps out of the battle. He lets them go here. Rob Bowden slots in, and Bartain in front goes ahead
there on
as
the
well.
back.
Mitch driving his way back up after he got caught up in the incident earlier in the race coming out of turn 9 at Dandenong Road Corner.
But at the front, we've still got Kobe's got that little break over third place in John Merritt, but that battle for third, they are all over each other, and I can see Alex caught off the road again, unfortunately in the background. So that looks like, I don't call it, couldn't be a safety car. No, not enough to go. We've only got a minute to go, so it'll be a blanket tow approval. There'll be no more safety cars. But
Caleb, his drive-through penalty after causing the incident earlier in the race. That's why he speared off into the pit lane. So this will see.
Here we go, sideways over the top again.
Look at this. Hides and Merritt now in reverse order to what they were the lap previous. Still fighting it out for third. Brown could pickpocket both of them here if they come unstuck.
Yeah, he's sitting there looking at them and going, there's just no way. When they're side by side, there's no way you buy. So onto the last lap we go, and Woods takes the white flag, followed by Kobe Williams. Schweikert there, still in 12th place. I'm really impressed with him tonight too. I'm really astounded that some of these the performance levels of some of these young guys are doing such a good job. So wouldn't it be great to see him in a real Formula Ford? Come on, Justin, go buy him one, buddy.
Justin sputtering as he starts to open the wallet in anticipation of this here as we watch from the rear of Kobe Williams at the battle, still unfolding for third and fourth between Merritt and Hides. Time has expired. They're on the final lap of racing here for the feature. I don't think Hides is anywhere near close enough to make any battle happen here into this fast section of the racetrack through turns 6, 7, 8 and 9, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. They're actually climbing up onto the back of Kobe Williams. There goes Hyde for a look. And Hides doesn't get there. Merritt will hold on to P3 into the
Merritt
final
was
chicane.
wise to him. Merritt was wise to him. He saw him coming and he just shut that door down.
Check the flag.
Congratulations to Damon. A real demonstration drive again.
Brilliant
Kobe
run
Williams,
from Damon
great battle. These four guys have entertained us for the last 30 minutes, haven't they? Absolutely superb. And John Merritt on the podium. I picked it early. What a great job.
A beautiful drive there from your top three. Merritt valiantly defending right at the end from Caleb Hyde. Seth Brown comes home for P5. Andrew Gilliam up 11 spots after his sprint race faux pas down in P6. Jason Brooks to P7. Jack Murrah up 6 spots to P8. Max Christensen up 13 spots to P9. And Caleb Dawson rounding out your top 10 as they all come flying across the line. Some big names falling down the order and a couple of even bigger names out of the race when you look at the likes of Ben Roberts and Eddie Beswick out of the race. Josh Fett also out of the race here. Kurt Bond on screen with a bit of old school livery down in P24.
Delivery from the very old Alphan Australian-made Formula Ford and a very David Earl's car. They used to run it around in the days of the TAA series. It used to go out and do a lap before the race with a genuine great big model aeroplane TAA aircraft on top of the car, mounted on top of the car. So very famous car. It's still running in Formula Ford today.
That's fantastic. I love the bits of history there from what they could have done back in those days. You wouldn't get away with it nowadays, for sure. And your leaders come across, and they even complete the full cooldown lap in quick succession. So a great drive from the likes of Damon Woods, Kobe Williams, and John Merritt coming across the line. And another round wins going the way of Damon Woods. Can somebody stop this kid? Because he is running away with this championship. There's a look at your feature race results. Woods taking the win. 4.1 seconds clear of Kobe Williams home in second. John Merritt there in third, 0.3 of a second further behind from Caleb Hydes, who put on a charge in the final few minutes to try and challenge the podium and just falling short in P4. Seth Brown home in P5, and the rest of your results as they stacked up. It's good to see Rob Bowden having a crackdown in 18th position at the end of that one.
Well, it's pretty exciting. There wasn't a moment there wasn't something happening, was there, Chris? I mean, I think we're going to see similar things on the weekend in the real series. And if you can't get out there to Sandown on the weekend and watch it, I am told it's going to be broadcast live on Blendline TV on the weekend on YouTube. So if you can't get out there to see them for real life, you can at least watch them on the TV as well.
Well, it's good, great to have the companies, the likes of Blendline TV, bringing us the action there where you can actually watch the racing live from these level of events. It's the beauties of the modern era where we can do live streaming like that, even to the point where we can do stuff like this with the RaceKraft Australian Formula 4 Championship eSeries. We're just catching up on a couple of replays from some of the last lap moves there. Look at this. Oh, Dawson into the left rear of the 36 car and getting caught up. And that puts Dawson around as well. And the 36 car, I can't even see it on the timing order, so falling way down the order. It's unfortunate right at the end there. Guy Leach was getting involved in a bit of the action as well. But let's bring in a few of your top drivers. As we have 4 people in the green room here. This is exciting. We'll
That's a big one.
See if we can drag them all in to the broadcast studio. And we'll start with congratulations for 3rd place going the way of John Merritt. Congrats, John.
Thank you.
What a race, mate. That looked pretty exciting in the closing stages. Fighting there with the likes of Caleb Hydes, trying to defend that position and hold on to the podium.
Yeah, no, it was. It was great racing. Sort of that front group Damon had checked out, but we enjoyed ourselves, and yeah, it was respectful and enjoyable.
How's the level of the pace racing at the front of the field like this with some serious talent all around?
Yeah, no, I mean, raced a few of the guys before FRG, and yeah, mate, they've got great pace, but it's just about getting a reasonable qualifying, and then you can get away and enjoy the night, I think.
You've been right near the front and pushing for the front. So I tipped you earlier in the night I felt it was your night to be on that podium, and I'm pleased to see it happen.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah, no, it was an enjoyable night. We've all got a little bit of homework to try and catch Damon at some stage.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you know it's the same car, same setup and everything as well, isn't it? That makes it actually worse, doesn't it?
Oh, I think he must have a Duratec in the back of it or something.
Congratulations again to John Merritt coming home in 3rd. Stick around. We'll get back to you with the thank yous coming soon. We'll go to 2nd place. Kobe Williams up 3 spots from the sprint. Congratulations, Kobe, bringing it home for 2nd on the podium tonight.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
It was a solid drive, mate. What did you need to try and extract from the car to open the gap up in the second half of the race? Because it seems like you found yourself a bit of a second gear there.
Yeah, I was really just struggling a bit towards the end there. I was just making like little mistakes, which was getting like lost the draft to Damon there, and then yeah, just little mistakes. It was just losing like a 10th here and there, and then yeah, just we really struggled, and then we had a little bit of a battle towards the end there, which was great racing.
So how are you looking for the weekend of the real world, and all set for the weekend? And what's your thoughts heading into Sandown for the next round of the Australian Championship?
No, I'm really looking forward to it. Sandown's one of my favourite tracks in the Formula Ford, so looking forward to get out there on Friday.
And this does give you a little bit of an insight and a bit of a run to sort of get you up to speed. It's like doing a bit of training, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Get your head around the track and whatnot, especially, and just getting a feel for it and whatnot. So, yeah, it's good.
Well, mate, we'll all be watching on the weekend, so good luck. Hang around. We'll come back to you for some thank yous.
Yeah, no worries.
And now we'll go to your winner once again, the same man on the top step. Congratulations, Damon Woods.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a tough one, that one, to try and break away from the pack.
It didn't look as tough from our perspective, it must be said. What are you doing right at the moment to be so dominant in this championship?
Staying consistent, staying out of trouble, and yeah, just running my race, I think, is the way to go.
So, mate, is it looking towards the weekend? You're running at Sandown. You're all set with the car for the weekend?
Yeah, we're pretty positive about our prep, so we'll see how we go on Friday. You know, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment coming from the HQ, obviously. So we'll see how we go, but yeah, it should be a good weekend, hopefully.
should be feeling like a Formula One car after that HQ. But the last time I spoke to you about your real world Formula Ford, you were saying you're having a few engine dramas and a bit down on horsepower. Has that sort of been corrected now? You're feeling like you've got equal equipment for the weekend?
Like I said, I think we'll find that out on Friday, but I think we've made some progression from the last round at Phillip Island, so yeah, we'll see how that goes.
All right, well, we'll all be watching, and we're hoping to see you do something similar out there on the weekend. And this has got to be a good little, as I was just saying to Kobe, it's a good little sort of practice run shootout. Just get your head around Sandown and get you into the sort of zone of racing that track in a Formula Ford.
Yeah, especially with the drafting in real life and on the sim as well, it's going to be very close racing, and yeah, the sim and the racing tonight definitely helps you prepare for that. You know, being able to race close quarters and not make contact.
Fantastic. Well, wish you all the best for the weekend, and a lot of us will be watching.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll flip back around now. We'll go for the thank yous. Who would you like to thank, John Merritt?
Just Pulse Tuning and Chukatida and some teammates from tonight, the Locked On boys, made an enjoyable night.
That's what it's all about. And of course, thanks to FRG for putting it on, right?
Of course, thanks to FRG and Formula Ford Australia Association.
Beautiful stuff. Now to Kobe Williams. Who would you like to thank, my friend?
I'd just like to thank all my real world sponsors, Essential Caravans, Trading Garage, K&B Motorsport and Cichlids, and all the people behind the scenes putting these awesome events on. And yeah, thanks.
That's what it's all about. And to your winner, Damon Woods, who would you like to thank?
I'd also like to thank my real life sponsors, Apex Steel, Aviation Component Services, John Bauer Racing, Synergy Race Engines, and finally Dave's Decals.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations again to your top three, taking the podium out in the gold split here for round 4 of the RaceKraft Simulations Australian Formula Ford E-Series, driven by FRG eSports. Dave, it's been a cracking night of racing. So much action up and down the field. We didn't even know where to look, and I'm sure Luke in the background didn't know where to point the cameras.
No, and this is only just the start of it. You've got your whole weekend of this to go.
Well, if people do want to check out the racing on the weekend, where do they have to go to check it all out?
Well, Sandown, obviously in Victoria. If you're in Victoria, get your way out to Sandown. Great little place. It's not going to be with us forever. And if you've never been there, make your way there. It's a great circuit, great atmosphere, great facilities. And you can get right into the pits. Go and see these guys. You know, I'm sure Damon will be there in pit lane. So will Kobe. Go and say hello to them. Wish them the best of luck and give them the support that they deserve from us. If you're not in Victoria and you can't get there, go to Blendline TV on the weekend. Formula Ford will be broadcast along with the rest of the meeting, so you can watch it, and you know, get involved.
And of course, if you want to get involved with this championship, all you have to do is find Formula Racing Group FRG on Facebook. From there, you can get the links to the Discord server and figure out how you can get involved. You can qualify for every single round individually for this championship. The next round, round 5, we keep it, of course, inside Australia. And we head to Oran Park, the now closed down racing facility in New South Wales at the end of the month on August 29 for round 5 of the RaceKraft Simulations Australian Formula Ford E-Series. There's a look at all the action you can see by finding us on Facebook and finding all the information about our upcoming events. And you can find out information about all the events that are being run by FRG with all the different things we run. There's a cool one flashing across there as Luke got to it. Just go back, Luke. Go back, Luke. We'll see if he's learning right there. The Asia Pacific
Junior Esports Challenge. So if you're between 14 and 17 years old and you're interested in getting in from sim racing into the real motorsport, go and do this series coming up. It's a weekend event, and the winner will wins a $15,000 first prize, which is to be involved in an international top-level driver academy at Sepang in Malaysia over the course of, I think it's 3 or 4 days, involved in that whole thing, and it's all the airfares, accommodation, everything. First place, but you have to be between 14 and 17 years of age as at the end of this year, I think it is. But that's a great opportunity. Stuff like this is coming up. This is why sim racing is so good now. It really is the new grassroots of motorsport, and it's where our future champions are going to come from, and we've seen that tonight, and you'll see it there.
the battle cry that is coming from Dave Roberts right now. The new grassroots is exactly the reason why. Some fantastic opportunities, and money cannot buy experiences up for grabs through the world of sim racing. If you'd like to get involved with more of the action with Formula Fords, go to formula4.org.au. And if you want to hook yourself up with a fantastic sim rig and all the fantastic gear on offer in the industry, go to RaceKraft Simulations. That's www.racecraft.net. And Johnny will be happy to hook you up with everything. From us, it's been a fantastic night of racing. Chris Mitchell and Dave Roberts here in commentary with Luke on Racestars TV, pushing the buttons in the background. And of course, from the boys in the stewards room, Rook Oyster, Ty Ratcliffe and Lockie Capel, making sure that everything runs A-OK and nice and smooth in the background. We'll be back next week. It's F4s, I believe. Is it, Dave?
I think it is. We've got F4, and I think we are at... Where are we? Phillip Island? Is it Phillip Island?
I just have round 3. So, yeah, next week, round 3 of the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Championship on Racestars TV. Same time, same place, same channel.
Right.
See you next week
Phillip
on
Island.
Tuesday night. Phillip Island it is. All right. We'll see you next week.